Diana Ruiz claims her former partner spread untrue statements about her to members of their church and the wider community. Fred Turnick admits he blames his ex for their daughter's death, but says none of his statements were false.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Ruiz versus Turnick. Ms. Ruiz, you are suing Mr. Turnick for $6,400 for slanderous comments. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the defendant, you say that the plaintiff is irresponsible and an alcoholic.
That's correct.
All right. I'll start with you, Ms. Ruiz. You say Mr. Turnick made slanderous comments about you.
Correct.
In what respect?
He basically has been telling our community and in the church community that I'm drinking and that our child died because of my drinking. And that was through a car accident that I had. So basically, I picked her up from school and then I went to the parking lot where I was, right? And I changed her. Then we left to go to her practice and for soccer practice. When I was on the way to soccer practice, that's when a car passed the red light and hit my car.
While you were en route to soccer practice?
Correct.
Okay. And your daughter was injured fatally?
When we were at the hospital, I asked for her because I was minor scratches, but my daughter didn't make it.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Turnick, Ms. Ruiz is saying that you're making slanderous comments. You both have been through so much, and I'm so very sorry for your loss. And now we're here because she's saying these slanderous comments are causing her significant damages. Can you tell me a little bit about how you're feeling in this?
Your Honor, first of all, nothing that I've said is untrue. I've only stated the facts and things from personal experience, being with Ms. Ruiz for several years together. She was an alcoholic. She was drinking while we were together. She was drinking while we were pregnant. There was an incident where she was drinking in my apartment and she got so drunk that she was vomiting blood. I had to take her to the hospital because she was vomiting blood while 4 months pregnant.
Oh, my goodness.
So my statements are backed by fact. Nothing that I've said about her or her reputation were untrue, Your Honor. So.
So is there a reason why? I mean, you all have been through the most unspeakable pain. And whether or not you were together in the relationship, you shared a child together, and you both lost that child. Is there a reason why you feel it necessary to even speak about Ms. Ruiz in public?
Denise she was my best friend. I loved her from the day she was born. My daughter she made me the happiest man in the world. And when she passed, I needed support. And I turned to my church, I turned to my community for support, for guidance, for relief. And I was just voicing my frustration and was just trying to get help from my support network.
You needed to get that pain out. You
Yes.
needed to talk through feelings of intense pain and trauma. And so it wasn't your intention to defame Ms. Ruiz in any way, but to talk about your lives and how you were interacting before and after your daughter's unfortunate death. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And so as you listen, Ms. Ruiz, and you hear Mr. Turnick talk about the fact that he is just trying to get his pain out, not trying to defame you, talk to the court about the damages you've suffered as a result of his statements.
Your Honor, I understand where he's coming from, but for him, the church wasn't just for him, it was for me too. I had to get that support too. I had to rely on my friend Jamie because without her, I don't think I could make it. The church, he was there all the time and I could not be there because he's there and I don't want to have any problems. So I could not go to the church. However, when I did talk to a few people at the church, I would hear them talk about me, that I was basically the town drunk.
Coming up,
I never said that she was intoxicated while driving and getting into a car accident that killed her daughter. I just said that she was an alcoholic for many years prior to that.
People are calling me child killer.
we're back with the case of Diana Ruiz, who brought her late child's father, Fred Turnick, to court after he spread lies about her.
Did you feel that this accident was Ms. Ruiz's fault, Mr. Turnick?
To be honest, Your Honor, I did. Because from my experience with her, she was not only a responsible mother, she was also not a good driver. When Denise was going to preschool, she was constantly late picking her up. She was always in a hurry. So if she was on time, if she wasn't late, if she wasn't
'Cause I have to work.
distracted, yes, but you can work and drive safely, not put in our daughter, who's now dead.
But it
not-
wasn't my fault, and I showed you. I have proof here.
Look, all I'm saying
What
is
proof
that
did you bring, Ms. Ruiz?
I have the evidence from the police report that it was not my fault.
May
And
I see
also
that,
have
please?
other proof.
Sean, will you pass that to me, please?
you.
You're welcome.
So you have evidence here that states a blood alcohol test on 1-3, 0.0%. So her blood alcohol test at the time of the accident, she wasn't drinking. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, Your Honor. But they,
And then here's a collision report, police report, saying she was not at fault.
but I don't
So
think,
have you seen this as well?
yes, but the report doesn't indicate if she was speeding. I don't know what if she was distracted. I still think that there was a possibility that she could have avoided this accident. I wasn't there. All I know is that years prior of being with her, of raising our child together,
Called an accident.
she was distracted. She was late. She was drinking for many years prior
Do
to
you
us being together.
admit, Ms. Ruiz, that you were drinking for many years? You do have a problem with alcohol?
I've been seeing the ASN for about 5 years, and I've been sober since then.
So your damages are, I see here, $6,400 in moving costs.
Correct.
Why did you move?
It was very painful for me. I was born and raised in Paso Robles, and I felt that that was the place where I wanted to have my family, to grow up, my own family. I had my baby, which was my daughter, Denise. I had my ex right here, Fred, with me, and I thought this was the family place to be because that's where I grew up. But then when this accident happened, I have to live with this, Your Honor. I have to live with my own daughter's death, that it was in my back seat. It's like I literally got off work, picked her up, changed her, and then drive, and then a car came over and hit the car. It was like, that's traumatic
It's
already.
unthinkable. You can't.
Thank you.
It's almost unbelievable.
I don't have nobody to be with me, a
So
partner.
this tragic accident that killed your daughter, it also destroyed the relationship as well?
No, the relationship got destroyed because of my alcohol situation back when I was pregnant. We broke up because of that.
All right.
It did not work out for
So
us.
why did you feel you needed to move, and why do you think Mr. Turnick should be responsible for that cost?
Because I relied on the church to go to, and I was going through that pain, and I needed that support. I needed family to be around, and I didn't have anybody. My boss actually had to let me go because in his business, because of his rumors that he was passing around.
So, Mr. Turnick, if you saw the police report, you knew at the time of the accident she hadn't been drinking. She also had proof that she had been going to alcohol counseling and meetings. Why did you feel the need to speak about this in the church, in the community, so much so that it compounded pain for not just Ms. Ruiz, but for you as well?
Well, Your Honor, I never said that she was intoxicated while driving and getting into a car accident that killed her daughter. I just said that she was an alcoholic for many years prior to that.
People are calling me child killer.
But like I mentioned earlier, I needed a support system as well. She's got ASN, I have my church, I have my community. I needed to grieve. What people did with that information, I have no control over. If they give her looks at the store, if her boss fired that, it's not because I called and said.
So is it your testimony, you merely confided in, and this is not your entire church, these are members of your church or either the counseling arm of your church, that there had been issues in the relationship before, talking to them about what happened in the relationship. But are you stating in court today that you never once accused her or stated that she was drinking during the accident?
That is correct. I never said that because I knew from the day that we broke up, when she was vomiting while pregnant, I knew that she signed up for ASN and that she took responsibility and she took action to solve her problem. So I knew she started going to ASN and cleaning herself up. So I did know that most likely she wasn't intoxicated while driving, although I don't know for sure.
Coming up.
I can attest also to the fact that he did make slanderous remarks that even I know of and heard of.
What did you hear?
That he accused her of being drunk and causing the...
We're back with the case of Diana Ruiz, who brought her late child's father, Fred Turnick, to court after he spread lies about her.
Ms. Ruiz, you brought a witness. I'd like to hear from her. Ma'am, will you please stand and approach the podium?
Hi. Yes, Your Honor.
You've been sworn in. Please state your name for the court.
Jamie Heldon.
Ms. Heldon, what relationship do you have to Ms. Ruiz?
I am her counselor at Alcoholics Support Network.
Okay. And are you here to testify on her behalf that she has been, in fact, attending meetings? I did see several pieces of paper and certificates from the center in the evidence folder.
Yes, Your Honor. I can attest to the fact that she has been sober since the birth of her daughter. I've known Diana for 6 years now. Throughout that whole time, even after the passing of her daughter, she went through a deep depression to the point where she was even suicidal and wanted to take her life. But she allowed me and the other members of ASN to help her through that difficult time, and she remained sober. And Fred did not make it easy for her. I can attest also to the fact that he did make slanderous remarks that even I know of and heard of.
What did you hear?
That he accused her of being drunk and causing the death of her daughter. And members of the community were going around with that information and saying that she was a child killer.
Coming up.
I didn't hear him say it personally, but there were members of the community that told me that he...
We're back with the case of Diana Ruiz, who brought her late child's father, Fred Turnick, to court after he spread lies about her.
Did you hear that personally?
Yes, I heard it personally.
You heard him say it personally?
I didn't hear him say it personally, but there were members of the community that told me that he...
But they aren't here.
No.
So that's hearsay. They're not here to testify about that.
They told it to me.
Exactly, but you did not hear it firsthand.
No, not from his mouth.
All right, thank you. I've heard sufficient testimony. This is very difficult because you all have survived the unthinkable, which is the death of a child. There are no words that I can even string together right now that could, I'm sure, describe the pain and the trauma that you felt and are still feeling. And this is why this is so difficult, because you're in court today suing for moving expenses that you felt like you needed. The other hand, Mr. Turnick, I hear you when you say, I really relied on my church and I needed to speak to people about what we've been through. To have to hear a dispute between parents who have lost a child so recently is, it's just very difficult. Ms. Ruiz, even your witness testified that she had not heard firsthand Mr. Turnick say anything that would defame you, but she had an understanding through hearsay. That's testimony I can't accept.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
However, Mr. Turnick, through his very own testimony, leads this court to believe that you were, in fact, at church speaking in a slanderous way about Ms. Ruiz. It was interesting to hear you say you confided in your church members, but it was to the exclusion of Ms. Ruiz. And it would seem to me that this would be a conversation you would invite her in unless you held some very hard feelings and deep in your soul feel like she was responsible, despite the fact that the police report and the toxicology says she is not. This was neither of your fault. Speaking badly about the other does not bring your daughter back. But unfortunately, I do believe, Mr. Turnick, the statements that you made cause very real damages to Ms. Ruiz. It is for that reason, judgment for the plaintiff for $6,400.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I hope you'll find a way to work through this so your little girl can rest in peace.
Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $6,400.
I can't believe this. I mean, why did you have to take me to court? You're just rubbing salt in my wound.
I know
It's
what
your
you're going
fault.
through.
You could have gotten a job, get a loan,
going
pay this for
through it
yourself.
too.
We're not even together.
You have to understand what I'm going through.
Why am I responsible for your expenses moving to Seattle?
Judith Towns claims her credit rating was on the line after the father of her grandchild refused to pay his share of the rent. Tyler Young says his ex-girlfriend kicked him out of the apartment, so he shouldn't have to pay.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Towns versus Young. Ms. Towns, you are suing Mr. Young for $1,850 for the cost of a broken lease. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And Mr. Young, you say that you never asked the plaintiff to be a co-signer.
Exactly.
All right. So let's start with you, Ms. Towns. What happened?
Well, first of all, let me start off by saying that yes, Tyler does owe me $1,850. I co-signed for both of them. My daughter here, who is his ex-girlfriend, and the mother of his child. I signed for both of them. So therefore, I feel entitled that he should be paying me back
All
the
right.
money.
So Mr. Young is your daughter's ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend.
And you co-signed a lease for them.
Sure did.
All right. And how much was this lease for?
The lease was $3,700.
Okay, a month.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And so you co-signed because when they went to get the place, they couldn't approve.
No, they couldn't get approved, Your Honor, for the simple fact is, with the marketing going on right now, their age and the fact that they don't have bad credit, they have no credit. No credit. So I felt inclined to help my daughter get this place because she told me he wanted to marry her. So again, to help my daughter get some responsibility, Your Honor, because I'm gonna be straight up, I have overcompensated for my daughter. I played both mom and dad. She didn't have her father growing up, and so I have pampered her and turned her into the Princess Peach that she is. And so I figured, you know, she graduated from college. Very proud of her for that. Stayed in Washington, D.C. for a year, came back home, and into 6 months of her being back home, found this dude.
All right, so she met Mr. Young. They started a relationship.
Yes.
Were they in an ongoing relationship, a long-term relationship?
I would consider it long-term, given the fact that, you know, she's going to his house, he's coming over to mine, we're going out.
How long were they dating?
Oof, maybe about 6 months.
How long were you dating, Mr. Young? Do you remember?
Probably like 8 months.
About 8 months.
Yeah.
And then you decided to move in together?
I mean, she was at the crib all the time, so.
What crib?
My crib. So prior to, you know, us getting the high rise, I was living in my own crib.
So you already had your own
I
apartment?
had my own spot.
No, tell her where you was really
All right, so
living.
what made you decide you wanted to go get a high-rise apartment?
No, her daughter decided that she wanted a high-rise apartment because she wanted to be a social media influencer. So it didn't fit the aesthetic that she wanted.
Oh, your apartment you had.
Yeah,
It was
it
2
didn't.
bachelor pads.
I mean, but she was enjoying it when she was with me.
Okay,
But it
so
just-
but she didn't want to live in there.
Nah.
So you all decided to go get this high-rise apartment, and so you went to go look at it.
We went to go look at it.
How
we didn't
much
get
was the rent on it?
The rent was about $3,700. We weren't getting approved on it without a cosigner. She spoils her daughter. That's the reason why she co-signed. She don't care about me.
So you all went to the apartment. It was more than you could afford together,
I could
or
actually
that you could approve for.
Exactly. I have a great job. I just had started my job. I was getting paid good. I just didn't have
What
no
do you
credit.
do for a living?
I work in insurance. So I was
Okay.
taking care of I was going to take care of the bills. I could afford
You were
it.
going to pay the whole $3,700 a month by yourself?
Have been too. Have been.
Okay, so you did get the apartment because Ms. Towns, you co-signed.
Yes,
Exactly.
ma'am.
All right, so you co-sign, they move in, and the bills are getting paid.
The bills are getting paid. Yes. Along with the bills getting paid, the drama is accumulating. The arguing, the fights. First of all, Your Honor, let me just be quite frank with you in front of him. I never really approved of the relationship. He is significantly older than my daughter. And while he's trying to make it seem like he's in some kind of bachelor pad, let's just break it down. He was in, it was horrible. The neighborhood where he lived, when I went over there, like there's nothing but an air mattress, maybe a table and a PS5. But
it was
again,
mine, right? It was mine.
It's
It was
yours.
mine. It was mine,
It's
though, right?
yours.
Okay, I'm
but
just making
don't
sure.
make it seem.
She had no place.
Don't make it seem. She had a place. Home.
No, she was with me too.
Yeah, she was with
She
you.
was
but
enjoying
she
it.
All right,
with
let's
you.
get some order.
Okay.
Let's get some order.
Coming up,
He's cheating on you and he becomes verbally abusive.
Yeah,
the relationship goes
emotionally.
downhill that quick.
Yeah.
She's not telling her side.
So what's my
She's
side?
a social media influencer. She's out every night.
closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with the case of Judith Towns, who brought her daughter's ex-boyfriend, Tyler Young, to court after he bailed on a lease she co-signed.
You didn't really approve of where Mr. Young was living.
No.
But you knew your daughter was going to be over there. What makes you co-sign for an apartment so your daughter can move in with a guy you don't approve of? Make that make sense, Ms. Towns.
Because he told me he was so enamored in love with my daughter, he wanted to marry her.
And you spoil her. Let's be clear.
That I did.
Well, it seemed like you're putting the cart before the horse, co-signing for a lease. If he want to marry her, let him make the financial and emotional commitment before you go co-sign for a lease.
Yeah, I thought about that as well. And the thing about it is, this is why I told her I would think about it. See, this is not something I just jumped on. See, this is about another month or two of them looking for places and then, oh, Mom, are you going to do it? I found this over here. Oh, they said no.
No,
Are you
she
gonna
was-
do
So
it?
your daughter's coming back and saying, Mom, can you help us? Can you help us?
Can you help us? Because they have no credit in this market and day and age. You cannot get an apartment or anything without some kind of form of credit, some type of history.
Well, he got an apartment. It just wasn't the kind your daughter wanted
yeah,
to live
but in the neighborhood that he lives in, a loaf of bread can
So
probably
you
get you
made
in
the
that
decision
apartment.
as a mother to co-sign.
To co-sign.
And
for
now
my
you're
daughter.
saying he owes you $1,850.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because my daughter paid her $1,850, half of the $3,700 that was owed. That puts me and my credit and good name. That I told them that when we
But
signed.
why wasn't I in an apartment? I got kicked out.
When we
I got kicked out of the
signed,
apartment though. Can you tell her that part?
I explained to them the significance of my credit and my name being on the forefront of this. I said in plain terms, give you the PG-13 version, but I said, do not screw me over on this. Did you not agree that you would not do that? Did you not agree
We
that you
also
would not do
agreed-
that? Because
we
I ain't
also
happy
agreed
with
to
her
a lot of
either.
things.
All right, so you told them, I'm going to put my credit on the line. You all bet not mess this up.
Bet not.
And so, Mr. Young, you say you got kicked out?
I got kicked out.
What, were you on the lease?
I was on the lease. I was
So
on the
how'd
lease.
you get kicked out when you're on the lease?
When somebody don't want you back and they cut up all your sneakers and your clothes and tell you to go and never come back, you gotta go.
You're right.
Hold on now, Ms.
That's
Towns.
not good
I
for
want to
my
hear.
mental.
I want to hear from your daughter.
That's not good
Stand
for
up,
my
ma'am.
mental.
State your name for the court.
My name is Ashley. Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Ashley.
Okay, Ashley, you cut up Mr. Young's clothes.
I did. And the reason why I did is because I found out he was cheating on me. Tyler's been cheating on me. So I guess I did take it to another level, and that's just because that's how I am sometimes. Again, as he said, I'm a spoiled brat, so I guess he utilized that as me being a spoiled brat. But besides him cheating on me, he has also been verbally abusive to me. So I did take my anger out on him.
So
because
wait,
of that.
this love of your life, you had to have your mama co-sign. You get in there only to figure out he's cheating on you and he becomes verbally abusive?
Yeah,
the relationship goes
emotionally.
downhill that quick?
I mean, yeah.
She's not telling her side. She's not telling her side.
So what's my
She's
side?
a social media influencer. She's out every night. Like, she's not telling that she also cheated. Like, yeah, I cheated. I own that.
I cheated after you cheated on me.
It's not a contest.
Literally cheated on you after I found out
But
your
when you-
grandmother
when-
was never calling you.
But when you're never, don't worry about that. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
no, but I'm worried about that because that's the reason why I
it
found
was
out you were cheating.
He had it logged in as grandma.
Grandma. At
Listen.
2 o'clock in the morning, grandma's calling the phone.
But she got
Right.
she got dudes in her DM. It's going down in the DM.
They pay.
Okay, so hold on. So it got to be messy. So y'all did all that to live together. Then you start living together. You out because you an influencer.
High rise from hell. High rise from
And
hell.
it was a
high
I was
rise
cool.
from hell.
I was cool with my little pad.
Before we
I
moved
ain't
into
had
the
weed.
new high-rise home, you actually lost your place, and we got into the home with my mom. My mom was helping me do a lot of things because, of course, yes, I'm starting out to be a social media influencer, okay?
She never wanted us in that spot. She never wanted us in that spot.
But
She
you lost that
spoils
spot
her.
anyways.
Okay, but the bottom line was you all made it there because of your mother. Your mother helped
Exactly.
you get the apartment. Y'all got the apartment, then fell off. You fell
Facts.
apart.
Facts.
You didn't like that she was out doing her social media influencing thing. You got girls calling you and you got them logged in as grandma.
That's what she
You
said.
laughing.
Bro,
You
I
laughing
caught
now,
you.
but it destroyed your relationship. You say that there were people DMing her. What did you see in her DMs?
Listen, it was the blue
Exactly.
checks. It was a lot of blue checks. You know what blue checks is, right?
Money?
That's
What are you
verified.
talking about? That's money,
Those are
and you're talking
verified
about
guys. I mean, NFL, like, they not really saying much because they blue check. They ain't got to say much.
but your girl said a lot when I answered the phone.
What's the difference? It was a blue check or no check if it's a guy?
Blue
And it was a check to go to our rent. Why he said it was a check to go
Listen,
to our rent,
I paid
our money,
all-
our
Oh,
bills.
you were
I
getting
paid-
money from these guys?
But she wasn't
that's
using
what
it to pay the bills, though.
Influencer, when they like any product that you're doing, like if you're doing a product test or any samples, or so like I do things here and there on,
So
on
wait,
social
you
media.
just put stuff on the internet, and if
Content.
somebody likes what you put up, then they go to your DMs.
I mean, like
and
any-
they just send you money.
like any typical person.
Ain't nobody
no.
sent me no money.
I mean, girl, I don't know why not.
Obviously, we in the wrong business, Sean. All wrong. So it's men in your DMs, and you admit giving you money.
I mean, yeah, not always giving me money. Some
But
of
what
them
you
just
use
give
it
me.
for?
Some of them give me attention, and it's not the attention that I feed into. You get what I'm saying? I feed into the ones that are aiming towards my content because I'm on here for business. I'm not on here for pleasure.
Coming up,
She cut everything up, destroyed, bleach, everything. Like, she went crazy. So, am I to blame for leaving? Like, you kicking me out.
So you leave, and then the next month you don't pay the rent, your half.
I'm now having to figure out I have to pay a new rent. I gotta sleep on a homie's couch.
we're back with the case of Judith Towns, who brought her daughter's ex-boyfriend, Tyler Young, to court after he bailed on a lease she co-signed.
What prompts the falling out? When you figure out that grandma really ain't grandma?
Yeah, and then on top of the abuse already, that the toxic relationship that we already have. So on top of that, and then I find out this, and it's not the first time. It's
All
the
right.
first time I heard a girl's
So you
voice.
tell him, get out.
Yeah.
Do you get out, Mr. Young?
I left. I had no choice. And it
That's not
wasn't
what you
just
did,
get
okay.
out. It was kick your out. Sorry, excuse my language.
I mean, I'm a girl. I'm a woman. I'm going to tell you get out because
On
I
top
need
of
my
that, I
space.
had no clothes. She cut everything up, destroyed, bleach, everything. Like, she went crazy. So, am I to blame for leaving? Like, you kicking me out.
So you leave, and then the next month you don't pay the rent, your half.
I'm now having to figure out I have to pay a new rent. I gotta sleep on homies' couches. I'm couch surfing at this point.
You used to
Swag surfing on couches at this point. So why should I have to pay your bills?
First of all, you used to that. Second of all, because it's through your bill. You used to
You
that.
got all these women.
But your
Where's grandma?
name is on the lease.
My name was on
So
the lease.
then, because he didn't pay, and even though his name was on the lease, he didn't pay it. So you're saying, Ms. Towns, you had to pay that.
Yes, and not only did I have to pay, the way I found out that I had to pay and was going to be responsible It's because notice number 1 and notice number 2 must have went to these two, and they never told me, never said nothing until notice number 3 came, the final notice, and that's what they give to the co-signer.
So it's either pay or they're going to get kicked out.
Oh no, not only kicked out, pay or get kicked out. How about my credit? My credit score, my good name, everything that again,
So
verbal
then
agreement, we're not going to screw her over.
So then you pay.
And then I pay.
Coming up,
I did know I was pregnant before he left, so that's another
Did
thing.
you know she was pregnant when you left?
No, because it
Yes,
ain't
you
mine
did.
anyway, so.
we're back with the case of Judith Towns, who brought her daughter's ex-boyfriend, Tyler Young, to court after he bailed on a lease she co-signed.
During the 6 months we lived in the apartment, she never paid the rent at all. So
But that was our agreement. so
Because during the
we're
6
together.
months
But if
of
we
you
do it by
living
agreement-
together in the apartment, Mr. Manipulative, Mr. I'm older than her, so let me get a young chick so I can make her do what I want to do. She's having the responsibility of what? The cooking, the cleaning, the house
She didn't do
stuff,
none of that.
right?
And I was pregnant.
You wanted to be out in the field,
All
and
right,
she's
so
doing this
when
pregnant.
you left, hold on. Did you know you were pregnant before he left?
I did know I was pregnant before he left, so that's another
Did
thing.
you know she was pregnant when you left?
no, because it
Yes,
ain't
you
mine
did.
anyway, so, you know.
And that's another issue, Judge.
So now
We're not
you're-
doing this. I'm not paying $3,700 and then I'm sitting here paying the financial, the physical time and everything for my grandson.
Now you see what I'm
I'm
talking
not
about.
going to do this. Like I said, he's
So
significantly
now
older
the
than her.
baby's born,
Yes, and my baby's only 6 months.
and this is still going on.
Yes.
Where you all are broken up,
Yes. I haven't seen him in over a year.
I don't even want to see them now.
I haven't.
and so
Your son,
But
though.
you haven't seen the child, Mr. Young.
I have no contact with them. I cut them off completely. Done.
But you've never seen the baby.
No, I don't even know what it looked like.
Looks just like
I'm
it.
sure it probably looked like somebody in her DMs.
It's not an
honestly.
it.
Yeah,
I'm
my
sure it
baby
looks
is
like
an it.
So your thing is, all these men in your DMs, one of them must be the father.
Gotta be.
At the end of the day, the problem is we have a question of paternity and we have a question as to whether or not you are owed the money.
Yes, ma'am.
The great news is that this court can resolve both of those questions today. We had both your daughter and Mr. Young undergo paternity testing
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
in a case of Towns versus Young as it relates to the minor child born to Ms. Towns.
Look, her mom.
It has been determined by this court.
Grandma's always watching him. That should
Do
be
you want the
ma'am.
result or do you want to run your mouth? You came here to get answers. I have them. But if you're going to keep talking, I can go on to the next case and you can leave out of here in the same situation that you came. As it relates to the minor child born to Ms. Towns, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Young, you are the father.
Exactly. So I don't want to. I don't hear nothing else.
Pay up, Poppy.
Pay it up, Poppy. I
Ms.
need it.
Towns,
See, look.
Ms.
So
Towns,
hopefully we
come-
both be watching the kid, right?
Listen.
Not your mom, right?
Let's get some
You
order.
ain't even been here for a
Let's
year.
get some order.
You ain't even been here.
As it relates to the rent, you signed the lease. You agreed to pay half the rent. You shouldn't even have moved out, but you chose to. But you still owe the rent payable to Ms. Towns. Judgment for the plaintiff for $1,850. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,850.
You have not been here for a year.
grandma watching the
You
kid.
have not been here for a
That's
year.
all
That's not
right.
my grandma. That's my mom.
You finna watch him now.
Listen, that's
You
debatable.
finna watch him now.
Listen.
You're finna watch him now.
It looks like this is going to be continued, right?
Yeah.
To be continued.
Please follow me out.
Susan Wilkes claims her neighbor's dog lunged at her several times, shredding her laptop bag in the process. Alex Jameson says his dog only reacted after being injured by Ms. Wilkes first. Mr. Jameson is countersuing for $700.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Wilkes versus Jameson. Ms. Wilkes, you are suing Mr. Jameson for $1,300. You say his dog destroyed your laptop bag. Is that correct?
Yes, and assaulted me.
And assaulted you. All right. And Mr. Jameson, you are countersuing for $700, saying that the plaintiff hit your dog with the bag and that she needs to pay for the veterinarian bills. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Tell me what happened, Ms. Wilkes.
Okay, so starting off with me being parked across or on the street where our neighborhood is, there's a dog park.
You live in the same neighborhood as Mr. Jameson?
Yes, I live 2 houses down, ma'am.
Okay.
And there's a dog park and there's a regular kids park. So naturally, I'm gonna feel comfortable like getting out of my car, putting my headphones in, and taking my stuff out of my bag and taking it into my house. And while I am grabbing all my stuff, his dog comes across around the car, like on the sidewalk.
On a leash?
On a leash, yes, ma'am. And he lets the dog get a little too close. And once his dog rounds the corner, it kind of like lurches towards me. And I take my bag and I put it between us. And the dog's still lurching at me. So I hit the dog with my bag about twice. And then the dog takes my bag and kind of like latches on it, like just bites it like really hard and takes it from me and just tears it to shreds, to be honest. And I have pictures of it.
Let me see this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to understand where you were. Oh my goodness, this bag.
That's what I said.
Tore that up. Mr. Jameson, which way were you coming from?
Well, look, Your Honor, I was very respectful of the plaintiff in this regard. But this is a bag. This shows what happened as a result of the plaintiff attacking Gus, my dog. My dog was attacked in this situation. It wasn't vice versa.
How was your dog attacked?
I have some evidence here that would show that the plaintiff, Ms. Wilkes, was startled.
All right, and what
What
I need to happen as well is when I ask you a question, answer the question I ask you. Don't tell me a bedtime story.
Got it.
Do you understand?
Yes.
I asked you, which way were you walking towards her?
I was walking in this demonstration here, walking from the Park for Dogs across the street to the sidewalk.
So you were crossing the street?
Yes.
And she's getting out of her car?
Yes.
So is this diagram you and the dog or Ms. Wilkes and the dog?
That's me and the dog.
That's my car.
What's the first thing that happens?
The dog lurches towards me. He still got the leash, but it's not one of those ones with the button where you can stop him. It's just a regular leash.
He lurches how?
Just like starts kind of running, running
a
little bit at me.
Tail wagging running like happy dog, or in a way that intimidated you?
A way that intimidated me, but it could definitely be the type of dog that...
What kind of dog is this?
It's a Cane Corso, Your Honor. It's a type of
I know exactly what it is.
dog.
Yeah, and here's a picture.
Your Honor, that's the picture of when Miss Wilkes hit the dog with the bag. He yelped, and then the second time she hit him, he jumped and grabbed onto the bag to protect himself. Now, the dog has these facial lacerations that we brought him to the vet, and he had to have stitches for. And she has no marks on her at all. The dog didn't attack her. He was defending himself against being attacked.
All right, so it's your testimony that Ms. Wilkes pulled up, getting ready to go home, got all of her stuff out of her car, spun around and decided, oh, there's a huge black Cane Corso. I want to attack it.
Coming up.
Has Gus ever had training?
Yes, I submitted that into evidence that he has attended obedience training and successfully completed that course.
Gus attended the obedience training, but you did not.
And later.
And I installed a beautiful penis water fountain in his near his pool.
A what?
A penis water fountain.
A penis?
A beautiful penis water fountain.
It's not beautiful, and I didn't ask for it.
We're back with a dispute between Susan Wilkes and her neighbor Alex Jameson over a destroyed laptop bag.
And Mr. Jameson, how are you walking your dog? Demonstrate that. Come right here.
Yep.
In the middle of the podium. Show me how you're walking your dog.
My dog is on his leash, and it's not one of the retractable leashes, Your Honor. Just walk the dog like normal.
And you were walking the dog on your right side like that, and Ms. Jameson was over here, so the dog had to cross you, or were you walking the dog with your left hand?
I was walking with my right hand across the street.
And so when she spun around from her car, the dog crossed you?
Well, it was more like I came around the back of the car like so, and when I walked with the dog this way, my body was in between Miss Wilkes and the dog.
Okay,
but
step
the
back
dog
to the
did,
podium.
Yeah, I guess.
So when that happened, what did you do with Gus at the time? When she starts hitting him with the bag because she admits to, what do you do?
Well, it all happened so fast, Your Honor. I did the best that I could to separate Miss Wilkes' material items from my beloved dog's grasp, and then once I noticed the lacerations, I brought Gus to the vet.
Did you have any physical injuries, Ms. Wilkes?
No, ma'am. Just...
Because you were using your bag. And then the dog somehow did Gus ever just take the bag from you?
Yes.
Okay, and then kind of just bit through the bag. That's why the bag
and then
looks
left
like
it
that.
on the floor, yeah.
All right. There's something else submitted in your file, a communication. What is this communication from Madeline? Does anyone know of the owner of that terrifying dog that keeps getting out?
That's mine, Your Honor. So I did a little research after that had happened, and I went on Neighborhood and I started asking the neighbors about the dog, and online that is some of the evidence I found of the reviews or how other people in the area have felt about a dog that matches that description and is on our street. So I just brought that as evidence to clarify that me being
So I think
scared
it's
of
a
this
cane
dog.
corso, and it's notorious. It almost bit my dad. This thing has gotten super aggressive with my dogs. Whose dog is this? I think the owner's name is Alex Jameson. So this is a conversation on one of like your neighborhood app things?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a case where this really isn't the dog's fault. I am a dog owner. I have a big dog, a big black dog, a black German Shepherd. This is why demonstrative evidence is sometimes so important. I started to have you demonstrate what was happening to me because I walk my dog. I even have my dog trained. Has Gus ever had training?
Yes, I submitted that into evidence that he has attended obedience training and successfully completed that course.
Gus attended the obedience training, but you did not, Mr. Jameson. Because when you learn how to walk a dog, especially a big dog, the rule is the dog is to remain to your side, right? The dog does not step further out than you do. And that's why it's so important to make sure dogs understand that, because when you give a dog a long lead like that, that's why I had you demonstrate it. The way you were walking the dog was problematic.
Okay.
It was also negligent. Because a person, and this is another pet peeve of mine, and I'm a dog owner, everybody assumes that everybody else loves dogs. I am a dog lover. I'm allergic to dogs, but I love them. But I don't want everybody's dog walking up on me close because I don't know the dog's intention, the dog's mood, or the owner's capability to control the dog. I see it all the time. California, it's a big dog-loving state, and dogs are just running everywhere. Sometimes they take them off the leash, all of these things. However, there's no reason that you should have been coming up and allowing Gus that much leeway to cross over you and walk towards a person. A dog that big, it's reasonable to assume that a person that is not a dog lover or experiences dogs the way you do could feel fear. And for that reason, the judgment's going to be for the plaintiff for $1,300. And I'm going to say this before I go. You are very lucky that this just was about a bag, because she could have really gotten hurt. You have to be careful with that and be responsible as a dog owner. I know you feel like your dog got provoked, but in this instance, it was your negligence that was the cause of Gus feeling the energy he felt. Not to mention the fact your dog got hurt. Because it was your negligence that caused your dog to come too close to the plaintiff. It's this court's opinion that the plaintiff is entitled to the $1,300 for the bag. And Mr. Jameson, I will say you're lucky that it was just a bag. But your dog was also injured, and that's your responsibility. It is not her responsibility to pay for your veterinarian fees. Judgment for the plaintiff for $1,300. Defendant's counterclaim is dismissed. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,300.
The neighborhood gonna hear about this, and I'm just hoping I get an apology from you as well.
Well, you know, I feel like it's my fault at this point, so I'm terribly sorry.
Thank you.
If you could follow me this way.
Coming up.
When I renovated his bathroom in the past, we had a contract, but we became friendly from that situation, and over time, we just started talking on the phone, and on the phone, he told me probably 5 or 6 times, I want a penis water fountain, so I gave him a penis
said Venus.
Nicholas Haim claims he installed a personalized fountain for a client's pool, but is still owed for the materials and labor. Onyx Peralta says the statue was offensive and not at all what he asked for.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Haim versus Peralta. Mr. Haim, you are suing Mr. Peralta for $3,200 for a pool and fountain you say he didn't pay for. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And the defendant, Mr. Peralta, you say you didn't get the right fountain.
Correct.
All right, let's begin with you, Mr. Haim. Tell us about this fountain.
Well, Your Honor, I've been a contractor for 10 years, and I did a master bathroom. I renovated a master bathroom for Onyx. I did a great job on it. He wanted me to install a pool and a waterfall in his backyard along with a fountain, which I did, and I installed a beautiful penis water fountain in his near his pool.
A what?
A penis water fountain.
A penis?
A beautiful penis water fountain.
It's not beautiful, and I didn't ask for it.
Mr. Peralta, you say you did not ask for that.
I did not ask for that.
What did you ask for?
I asked for a Venus water fountain.
A Venus water fountain.
Correct.
Now, that's something I've heard of before.
Yeah. And I figured the plaintiff would have heard about that, too.
And so where's the contract?
Well, Your Honor, we didn't have a written contract. When I renovated his bathroom in the past, we had a contract, but we became friendly from that situation, and over time, we just started talking on the phone, and we did it. We decided to do it verbally. He said he trusted my opinion on art. On the phone, he told me probably 5 or 6 times, I want a penis water fountain, so I gave him a penis
said
water
Venus.
fountain.
Coming up.
He started whacking it with a hammer, took a piece of it, gave me a piece of the statue, and told me to take my penis and get out of there.
We're back with the case of Nicholas Haim, who brought Onyx Peralta to court over a custom backyard fountain.
Did you say to him, excuse me, are you saying penis with a P?
I said,
or Venus with a V?
I said penis
Venus with a V.
I
V
actually
as in
sent
Victor.
him pictures,
V
Your
as in
Honor. I
Victor.
sent him pictures of the penis fountain.
Your Honor,
Did he
To
send
his
you
phone. I
pictures?
texted
I
them
did
to
not
him.
receive pictures of the penis fountain.
And wait a minute, did you build this yourself or did you find it somewhere?
I spent a lot of time looking for that thing, and it's beautiful, and it was difficult to ship in there too. I mean, I gave him $3,200. It could have been $5,000, and I found it, I bought it, and.
All right, so Mr. Peralta, when you got back home
Yes.
and you walk back in your yard and you see a penis statue, what do you do?
I was shocked, Your Honor. My mother was there because I brought her to my home to stay with me, and when she saw that, she wanted to go right back to Bear Lake.
So let me ask you this.
V.
Why do you think he didn't pay you then if that's what he wanted?
Well, he's also leaving out the fact that when I got there, he started whacking it with a hammer, took a piece of it, gave me a piece of the statue, and told me to take my penis and get out of there. But to answer your question, Your Honor, I spoke to him on the phone several times.
So
and
you
I
broke the
heard him say
statue,
penis.
Mr. Peralta?
I lost. He was pushing my buttons at the time. I did lose it. I did take a hammer.
If you didn't like it, why would you tear it up?
Yeah, I could have just taken it away. You didn't have
Why
to
would
whack
you
it with a
break it?
hammer.
My mother was there. It was a very emotional time for me.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
I know a thing or two about designing a home and an outdoor space. I also know that when you do a project for someone, if you are a reputable contractor, you do that and you get that in writing. And nowadays, there's no excuse not to have a writing because even a text message or an email can serve as an understanding of an agreement if you just took 2 seconds to do that, even if it wasn't a formal agreement because he was away. If
I
you
did
had time
text him
enough,
the pictures, though, Your Honor. I did text
But
him,
he
and I
did
have.
not
I
get
didn't
the
receive
pictures.
any pictures.
He
Well,
did
that's
not
what
get
he's
the
saying.
pictures.
That's
If you
he's
would have
saying he
sent
didn't
a
get them.
simple text and say, I need to confirm, are you asking for a penis statue with a P question mark? If you never got a response back, guess what you were never supposed to do?
Well-
Run your little self around looking for a ridiculous penis statue and install it in somebody's yard. And now, Mr. Peralta, because you've damaged the statue, wherever he got the statue from, he can't go take it back and get you something else. So both of you are at fault in this situation. Therefore, my judgment is for the plaintiff for $1,600. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,600.
See, Onyx, you shouldn't have whacked the damn thing with a hammer. That was the problem.
Why
Would've
don't you
just let me
take it and
the,
put it
the
in your
statue
house?
back. I could have just taken
You love
it
that
back
thing
and
so
sold the
much.
thing. I probably could have sold it for
Hey, you can fix
$5,000 or
it.
something.
Hey, you can fix it. You're good at that stuff.
Shannon Kelly claims her wedding photographer did a lousy job on her special day, so she wants her money back. Mike Lawson says he had to battle the elements and he's not responsible for acts of God. Mr. Lawson is countersuing for $600.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
The litigants have been sworn in.
Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. All right, this is the case of Kelly versus Lawson. Ms. Kelly, you are suing Mr. Lawson for $3,800 because you say he ghosted you and breached a contract and didn't deliver your wedding photos. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Lawson, you are countersuing Ms. Kelly for $600 because you say you suffered inconvenience and emotional distress.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, let's start with you, Ms. Kelly. What happened? You got married and Mr. Lawson was your photographer?
Yes, he was.
Tell the court what happened.
I secured Mr. Lawson by giving him $3,800 up front for him to do my wedding, which was going to be in Tampa. It was going to be on the date of June 13th.
Okay.
It was 2 weeks after the wedding, and I was not happy with the photos that he sent.
So the first run of photos basically proves the raw footage and photos.
No, this wasn't raw footage. These were just photos that Mr. Lawson sent me.
And you didn't like any of them?
I did not.
Was he just taking pictures or was he also doing video?
He was supposed to do both, taking photos and doing video.
Okay. Mr. Lawson, you do acknowledge that Ms. Kelly paid you $3,800 up front to film and shoot pictures for her wedding.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Did you perform the service to the best of your ability?
I did, Your Honor.
And then after that was done, you sent her photos?
Yes,
About how many photos?
I don't know, it was roughly like 400 or 500 photos.
Oh, wow. And then what happened?
So I reached out to her on June 27th, which was exactly 2 weeks after the wedding. I had informed her that I hadn't forgotten about her and that the footage was coming.
All right, that sounds reasonable. When did it become a mess?
A mess became when Mr. Lawson sent me the photos, and they were the bridesmaids. Their dresses are blowing, their hair is in disarray. I'm not happy with these photos. This is supposed to be my wedding day, the most beautiful day that there is for me.
Well, I mean, let's think about this, Miss Kelly. The dresses are blowing and the hair is blowing. That sounds Beyonce-like to me.
Well, no, they don't look Beyonce-like. What he captured.
Was it a part of his duty as the photographer to fix the hair and the dresses too, or capture the moment?
I think that he should capture the moment, and I think that his assistants, which I paid for, should have been there to assist. Our hair is blowing. He could have stopped us.
It was a large wedding. We had assistants. I had one assistant inside taking pictures of the reception, and I had the other one outside helping me. Mind you, this was an outside wedding, and it was being shot in the evening, so I'm battling all kinds of elements.
So if this is too much for him to handle, as we are starting to hear, then maybe he should not have taken on this
It's why I have it specifically here in the contract.
Hold on. When you're outside, It's very hard to control the elements, right? And if you have more than one bridesmaid, it is very hard to get everybody's hair looking perfectly at once, everybody's dress flowing perfectly at once. If you were having him shoot two different things at once, which is often the case, where the assistant is doing the reception or the cocktail hour while the bridal party is getting pictures, my point is, if we couldn't get perfection, isn't that what touch-ups are for? Like, did you try, Mr. Lawson, to Photoshop or, clean up the photos?
Yes, Your Honor, I did it to the best of my ability. But again, like I said, she wanted like a certain background look, and she wanted certain elements and things, and I was battling, the sun was going down, the wind was happening. That's why I even have in the contract right here that I brought.
Let me have the contract, please.
Your Honor, but don't you think that we could have at least moved it on the inside, or he could have stopped, for a moment to say, let's maybe give the wind a moment? This is my day. We're capturing one moment, Your Honor.
Coming up.
The $3,800 is paid for his time, for travel, for his assistance, for the turnaround time.
For the agreed upon location, not the one you changed last minute.
And later.
What type of business venture is this?
Well, it is a jewelry pyramid scheme as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it's a jewelry pyramid. So how does it work?
We're back with the case of Shannon Kelly, who brought Mike Lawson to court over ruined wedding photos.
Let me look at this contract. The contract says the photographer will not be liable in the unlikely event that a problem arises, whether due to an accident, loss of materials, acts of God, equipment, or other failures. But listen, I am not saying you have a right to not be disappointed. The question becomes whether Mr. Lawson breached the contract under the terms that are specified.
Your Honor, maybe take a look at the pictures.
So did you have in this contract somewhere that there should be indoor and outdoor pictures? I don't see that.
And I don't believe that that's stipulated there.
Was there any moment that you said when everybody's hair was blowing and things weren't right, did you say, I want to get some inside as well because the wind is blowing?
Well, we were going to get some inside and out, but I'm in the photos, Your Honor. When you take a look at the photos, I'm in the photos.
Let me see the photos. Let me just say this. I thought these were the proofs he sent, and then he went back and tried to edit and create. These photos, I mean, it is super windy.
Yes.
Like I said, it's not your bridesmaid's hair. Your bridesmaid's hair is kind of blowing back. It's your hair.
Thank you.
Ms. Kelly. It really is blowing straight in your face.
With all due respect, Your Honor, I did everything I could with the elements that were in play. The contract stipulates, if things happen. It doesn't say if she's not happy with them.
What did you get that you were happy with? Anything?
The reception photos, yes, ma'am. I did get reception photos, but those are candid shots. Those are shots, that are inside of people. But the photos that you're looking at, I'm supposed to share this with my bridal party. I'm supposed to hang this up on my mantle in my home. I'm supposed to put
I want to ask you again, Ms. Kelly, when the hair is blowing in your face like this, do you ever look at him and say, I think we better go in? Because he's under the assumption you've had an outdoor wedding, you want outdoor pictures.
We even changed the venue 2 days before, which I wasn't compensated for just because of how the outside venue that she wanted. So there was a specific point made about the outside venue.
Your Honor.
So I really didn't think it would do justice to go inside because that's the whole reason we made a last-second change.
No,
which again was farther for me to drive. I came from Miami. It was a 4-hour drive. Now it became a 4.5-hour drive.
One at a time.
Became a 4.5-hour drive, 9 hours round trip. And mind you, I wasn't compensated for any of that. It was just a last-second change that I was expected to do.
The $3,800 is paid for his time, for travel, for his assistance, for the turnaround time.
For the agreed-upon location, not the one you changed last minute.
When I changed the location, Your Honor, please. When I changed the location, Your Honor, we discussed that.
All right, I've heard enough. Based upon the evidence I've heard, this court has found that, Mr. Lawson, you did breach the contract. and you breached the contract because Miss Kelly did not get what she bargained for.
She did, though.
No, she did not. She got pictures that did not reflect the way a bride and her bridesmaids should be depicted in what we all know is customarily wanted from wedding photos.
Yes.
I agree that you can't control the elements.
Right.
If you finish shooting, I think this contract said, what, up to 10 hours?
Yes.
Which I was there
And
for
you
the whole 10
click
hours.
through, and you do not have a beautiful picture of the bride,
Right.
the groom,
Right.
and the wedding party.
Right.
That is a part of your responsibility. Now, you are suing him for $3,800, which is the price you paid for his entire service.
Yes.
But you have admitted in court that you did receive footage that you did enjoy and you could use. It is therefore the determination of this court and the judgment of this court today that I am awarding the plaintiff $1,900, which is half of the amount that she paid for your services, because she did not get the full bargain under this contract.
She did. She just wasn't happy with it.
When I give my judgment, Mr. Lawson, that's when you stop talking. I've heard enough. And as for your countersuit, it is dismissed. Because I can see from this courtroom, you like to do a lot of whining. But what you're not doing is being accountable for the way in which you must understand this woman believed in your work. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,900.
I guess all you got to do is complain enough and you'll get what you want, right?
Oh, I'm sure next time, with your 7 years experience, you'll do a little bit better.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll work on professionalism on your end and making
Well,
sure
you
everything
can keep
comes
the
at the
little
right time.
1900. You can keep it.
Oh, I can keep
and,
it.
And do what
cool.
you got to do.
Glad. Then we did this for nothing. Cool.
may
We'll
exit
keep it.
courtroom.
Thank you.
Coming up,
What prevented you from being successful? Because you say it was a failed business venture in your petition.
She made it seem as though it was going to be very easy and it was a part-time job selling this jewelry, and it is not.
Sharon Mickles claims she lost her investment after being lured into a jewelry pyramid scheme. Vanessa Prager says it's not her fault the plaintiff doesn't know how to run a business, but she doesn't owe her a dime.
So, Ms. Mickles, you are suing Ms. Prager for $824 for a failed business venture. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the defendant, Ms. Prager, you say it's not your fault. The plaintiff doesn't have what it takes to make money. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
What type of business venture is this?
Well, it is a jewelry pyramid scheme as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, a jewelry pyramid. Oh, so how does it work?
So it's a sign-up deal where you try and get other people under you to be able to make a profit. So I reached out to her and I actually purchased a pair of earrings from you because I thought, you know, she looks so glamorous all the time. Like, I could probably dazzle myself up a little bit. And she reached out to me in DM on a social media site and asked me if I wanted to join the team.
And when you DM'd her back, like, my jewelry is from this site, it's this business, this is what I do. Would you like to join?
Absolutely, and she had already ordered off of the site.
All right, so once you saw her in her cute jewelry, then you were like, I'm gonna buy some. And then once you bought some, you were like, hey, you can also be
a part of my team.
A part of the team because you're looking for extra work. What prevented you from being successful? Because you say it was a failed business venture in your petition. How did it fail?
I believe it was false advertising as
In
far
what
as...
way?
She made it seem as though it was going to be very easy and it was a part-time job selling this jewelry, and it is not.
Coming up,
Did you set up the website, Ms. Mickles?
I tried setting up the website. However, it's very difficult if you don't know much about electronic.
we're back with a dispute between Sharon Mickles and Vanessa Prager over allegations of a pyramid scheme.
People do it part-time, Ms. Prager, or is it a full-time job?
Absolutely. That's why there's 3 different packages. If you wanted to look at our...
I'd like to see that evidence, please.
Who do I...
Who's got evidence? Ms. Prager
Slide over.
and Ms. Mickles, you both got the same evidence?
Yes.
Well, at least you prepared.
So as you can see, there's 3 different packages. She bought the most expensive package at $4.99 and was unable to complete and to sell all of the items that she had chosen. The $50 monthly fee includes mentorship, leadership, IT, and things like that. And along with that, it comes with a website.
Did you set up the website, Ms. Nichols?
I tried setting up the website. However, it's very difficult if you don't know much about electronics or...
Did you call like tech support? She says IT support came with your package.
I did not receive any information on who to call for that. I actually reached out to her personally, and we probably met maybe 3 times.
But you haven't been able to sell. Why haven't you been able to sell?
Honestly, I think that the market's saturated, and we can only work with people in our region, and since we're in the same region, there's no one else to sell to, there's no one else to bring on board.
That is what the website is for, and to generate online is anywhere in the globe.
Well, it's actually the reason I'm asking for the $824 back is because of the fact of all the money that I had put into it initially. And then when I tried to confront Vanessa about my concerns about the business and wanting to potentially leave, she said in an email, and I quote, "Okay, I can end this for you."
And I meant that because...
Okay, where are you reading from? May I see that, please?
Yes.
These are text messages?
An email.
An email.
An email. So she said she can end what for you?
The business.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People return.
There is a buyback program with the corporation. So if you are not willing to move forward within the organization, the company will buy back the inventory without any risk to her.
And that's exactly what I was trying to do. However, immediately after receiving that email, I got an email from corporate suspiciously stating that I had copyright infringement.
And the issue with
How did you infringe on any copyrights?
We have you selling to people online. So you're doing like videos and that sort of thing. And she basically violated copyright infringement for our corporation, Bobo Bobbles.
So they asked you to not have any type of painting or anything behind you. Did you know that when you did the video?
Yes, she did.
All right, so it's a lot. No, it's a lot Ms. Nichols is saying she didn't know. The problem is this. You didn't delve deep into the small print, and you didn't really stop and take the time to figure out how you do this business from step A to step Z. For that reason, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Good luck with all of your endeavors.
Thank you. You as well. I hope you
forward.
succeed in life.
Thank you, and I will.
Molly Fallow claims her irresponsible rideshare passenger was so focused on getting social media likes that the car door was torn off after she exited the vehicle. Ava Reinhold says Ms. Fallow doesn't know how to drive, so it's not her fault.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Fallow versus Reinhold. Ms. Fallow, you are suing Ms. Reinhold for $1,500 in damage to your vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the defendant, Ms. Reinhold, says that the plaintiff doesn't know how to drive and the damages are not your fault. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Tell us what happened, Ms. Fallow.
Okay, Your Honor. So in 2021, I started my own rideshare company, a female-friendly rideshare company that I think it's very important that us women, we have a safe way of getting from point A to point B, especially at night. And, you know, we had the pandemic, but things started picking up again. So I've been really busy and really focused on my purpose and passionate about what I do. I do take it seriously, and I've had really good clients. I haven't had any problems, and I have a good group of girls working for me. So it's like a family business almost.
Okay.
So this particular day, I picked up Ava, and it was like the ride from hell, literally. And, you know, she takes no responsibility for what happened that day. And in my eyes, she's completely responsible, and she needs to pay the $1,500. But if I explain to you, it was a simple drive. Like, she just needed to go from Glendale to Beverly Hills. Okay, so No big deal. She gets,
All right.
yeah, not pretty smooth, right? I'm familiar with this ride. And we take Melrose, of course, you know. So basically from the moment she gets in the car, though, things were just not good immediately. Like, she gets in the car, she's on her phone, which I get that, but she's on speakerphone for like 10 minutes. She's talking to somebody on the phone with a very obnoxious voice. They're talking about like all this celebrity noise, like just stuff I don't even need to hear about. But again, no big deal. Like, that's the back seat, I'm in the front seat.
Right. Now, Ms. Reinhold, I want to come to you because you remember this drive.
Yes.
Was it a car ride from hell for you too?
For me, it was not. See, I heard about Molly's business. I was on TikTok and I was scrolling through and it was like this female-friendly rideshare, and I was like, that's great. And I'm very about women supporting women. I love that, you know what I mean? Small businesses, all that. So I was really excited to go on this rideshare, and as soon as I got in, it was just bad vibes.
Really?
Yes.
So you felt like you didn't bring the bad vibes in. You felt like when you got in, there were bad vibes already in the car.
Yes. Like, I'm 100% like positivity promoting. Like, I'm very out there, happy, bubbly, and there was like sad music playing in the background. So I like asked her kindly if she could like turn it down. I was on my phone. She was chirping at me about being on my phone, which I didn't think was wrong because I'm in a rideshare. You know what I mean? Like, I should be able to do my work and my stuff in the back while you take me from point A to point B.
It's not necessarily wrong. I mean, it could be inconsiderate if it's distracting to the driver, and also could be problematic if you are, you know, if they're driving and they're annoyed. But I get it. You're in a ride share that you paid for, and if you need to be, sometimes you need to be on speaker if you need to use both hands or you're looking at something. I get it.
So wait, so it gets more, you know, this is where it gets hairy, because now we're on Melrose, and I get you. Like, Melrose is very hip and trendy. There's a lot going on, and of course we get past like the pink wall, and she spots that right away, and she's like all, you know, ecstatic and young and giddy, and I'm really trying to do my best to understand the young people today with this whole like me song that they're singing and just all of that, and be like not judgy. So I'm bearing it. But then she's like, oh my God, can you stop? Can you stop? And it's just, it's Melrose, it's busy, and like the decency in me, I just kind of pulled to the side and paused, thinking she's going to take a picture like out the window. Well, no, she jumps out of the car, literally jumps out of the car. She got out of the car. Did you not? Yes. So she gets out of the car and she does whatever, selfie, taking pictures. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm like looking around. She gets back in and I'm like, okay, you know, well, nope. She doesn't get in the car. She grabs a tripod out of the car, jumps back out, and I guess was going to start taking video and content. And then in all of that hustle and bustle, the next thing I know is boom, a car comes by and like just takes the whole door off that she left open.
Coming up.
You asked her to please stop.
Yes, I did, and I asked her, and I didn't mean to be bothersome in any way. And she said, okay, and she pulls over.
Where does she pull over?
On the side of the road. And when I went in to grab my
Was she in a
tripod,
parking spot?
No, she was parked illegally.
And later.
What point do you decide the cleansings didn't work?
After the 6 weeks of chakra cleansing.
We're back with the case of Molly Fallow, who blames her rideshare passenger, Ava Reinhold, for damage to her car.
You saw the wall. It is notorious, and everybody wants a picture there. You asked her to please stop.
Yes, I did, and I asked her, and I didn't mean to be bothersome in any way. And she said, okay, and she pulls over. So I hop out of the car, and I'm going.
Where
and I'm
does she
taking
pull
a picture.
over?
On the side of the road. And when I went in to grab my
Was
tripod,
she in a parking spot?
No, she was parked illegally. And I was like,
there are no, I know that intersection. There are no real parking lots over there.
And I was just like, okay, like you do you, you know, she's been doing this for a while now. She has an entire company, so I'm trusting her, you know?
Your Honor, and she did not give me a choice. You didn't give me a choice. It wasn't this elaborate conversation.
I asked
it was like,
you,
oh,
and
no, please, and she jumps out of the car. What am I supposed to do? Be like, okay, bye,
Your
and
Honor,
keep
she
driving?
could have simply
No.
said
My
no.
point is, did she jump out of the car while it's moving, or did she jump out after you pulled to a stop and then she got out?
She pulled to a stop
to the
and then I
side
hopped
for
out
you
of
to
the
take
car.
a picture. It was a big, open, clear take a picture. It wasn't supposed to be a whole thing for you to get out of the car. And the thing is, if she would have got out and took the selfie, okay, fine. But that wasn't enough. Like, that's what I mean about this self-centered
Your Honor.
behavior. Like, that's why I started my business, because women need to be about each other. Like, it was all about you that day. It was like, oh my God, I got pictures, but that's not enough. Now I need to get video. So she came back to the car, took the tripod, and that's when the accident happened, because she left the door open.
And did you say something to her when she came back to get the tripod? Did you say, hold on, Miss Reinhold, hold on.
Yes,
I'm not parked in a
Yes, Your Honor.
What were you saying?
I said, listen, we can't. We have to go. I have to pick up another client.
You did not. I went in.
So in Beverly Hills in 10 minutes. We were supposed to be in Beverly Hills, and we're on the side of the road. And then what really is the kicker is then this happens. The incident happens, okay? And she starts going into hysterics like, oh my God, I can't believe this has happened to me.
Because that could have been me in the back seat easily, and you ignored that completely from me. When we pulled over to the side of the road, Your Honor, I got out, yes, to take some pictures after I asked. And I went in to grab my tripod. We had the conversation about going to Beverly Hills while we were still in the car. But she still proceeded to pull over, so I got out to take the pictures. I went in to grab my tripod, saw that she was parked illegally. But I trusted her as my ride share to get me from point A to point B, and she knows this, as she claims. She knows this road, and she's done it multiple times.
So did anybody bring evidence of what the car looks like?
Your Honor, the evidence that I have, I mean, I want you to watch this TikTok, because she got out of the car and she proceeded to make a TikTok, and it is all about me TikTok, and she keeps talking about
All right, so this is the video that's been submitted to the court?
Yeah.
Let's
yes,
see
it
that.
is, Your Honor.
I can't even look at it right now. My driver just got into this huge car accident, and that could have been me, and it was like totally her fault, and I'm a little rattled up right now. I was taking pictures for content and everything, and she just got into this huge car wreck. That could have been me, and my life was in danger, and it's all her fault, and I'm just trying to breathe right now because it was the most scariest thing that happened to me in my life, and it's just very in awe, and I just want to say that everyone, just please make sure that when you get in a ride share that you have a safe driver, because this could have easily been anyone. Don't forget to hit that follow button.
Exactly.
Can't leave that last line out, can you? So you didn't close the door all the way, or you went to close it and it didn't close all the way, and the next thing you know, how did the car get hit?
Because the door was wide open and someone came.
Wide open?
Well, it definitely
the door
wasn't
got
closed,
hit
or
because
like, I couldn't pull off. Your
Was
Honor,
she
the
sitting
problem is-
behind your driver's side or the passenger in the back?
Driver.
So she was sitting behind you in the back?
Yes.
All right. And so she got out, closed the door, didn't already close, it went to open, and then a car comes by and sideswipes?
Just took the door off.
But that means you're in the middle of the road. This is tough, because I think, Ms. Reinhold, you were being inconsiderate, you were being irresponsible, and you were even being a little bit irrational to think that in the middle of a ride share, you could get out and do a full photo shoot. I don't see how you could think all of that. But the truth is you did, and the crazy thing about it is your driver allowed you to.
I didn't have a choice,
Which is,
Your Honor.
no, you actually did have a choice, because had you not stopped, had you just said, I'm sorry, I have another appointment, there is nowhere for me to pull over safely right now, I've got to keep driving, you have to do what's necessary to ensure a safe passage.
Well, I didn't know she was going to get out of the car.
Of course you didn't know that. But
She didn't
if
say
you
that.
knew to say no and you had worked that out, she wouldn't have been able to get out. You would have just said, I'm so sorry, you've only booked this stop. If you want to book another stop, I don't know if you use an app or what you use, but I've been in ride shares before where I want to stop at a different place and they say, you're going to need to plug that into the app before I can make that stop. And then when they do, they find a safe place to stop. So unfortunately for you, you did have a pretty irresponsible passenger, but unfortunately, Ms. Fallow, your irresponsibility supersedes all of that because
Really?
it's your company. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I can't believe she let you get away with it. Like,
You got what you
Not an
deserved.
example.
You
Well,
got
good.
what
You're
you
going to be
deserved.
in Selfieville.
You know, I really
taking
hope you learn a
selfies
lesson and that you
until
can start
you're-
putting these child locks on, and then
Whatever,
you can
that's-
start to say no and stand up for
You were the
yourself.
judge.
Because that's what I did for myself today.
You didn't do anything but think of you.
Coming up,
I was looking into her because I was going through some things and I was hearing voices. Children,
Hearing voices?
Yes, children
Okay.
screaming.
You were hearing children screaming?
Yeah.
Mimi Washington claims she paid for several spiritual cleansings, but she wants her money back since they didn't work. Sophie Sanders says she did her job, but the plaintiff needs more help than she can provide.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Washington versus Sanders. Ms. Washington, you are suing Ms. Sanders for $2,038. that you say are for spiritual cleansings that didn't work.
Yes.
And Ms. Sanders, you say the plaintiff needs more than supernatural help. You did your job and you don't owe her.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what happened, Ms. Washington? Why did you come to court today?
I came here because I met Ms. Sanders online on her website, and I was looking into her because I was going through some things, and I was hearing voices. Children,
Hearing voices?
Yes, children
Okay.
screaming.
You were hearing children screaming?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was very nervous and uneasy about it. I wanted to do some research. I did some research online, and that's where I was drawn to her website. And it said that
Because you didn't know if these were voices in your head. You thought it was the spirits of people in your home.
Yes.
What does that entail, Ms. Sanders?
When she called and told me that she heard the voices and the children and stuff playing in her house, I immediately told her.
She said they were in her house, not in her head.
No.
They're in her house.
In her house.
And they were screaming.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I advised her, I said, I immediately need to come over and let's set up a time to do your cleansing of your house.
Coming up.
I went over there and I was ready to do it, and she let me in. As soon as I walked in the door, I felt a strong, like real strong spirit.
We're back with the dispute between Mimi Washington and Sophie Sanders over spiritual cleansings.
I immediately opened up the windows and went to work all around in there. It took me about an hour to do everything. I spent 20 minutes in each room. I lit candles, these spiritual candles in the house, and I also took my sage. I used this, and I went all through the house with it, each room for about 20 minutes, and I also asked her, was it okay for me to go outside around the house to, pray around it and stuff, and she said, yeah, with the sage. So after I got done doing all of this, I came back into her home, and if the presence then felt real good, and she looked it better, she looked it good, and it seemed like everything was calm, and she told me, oh, she was so happy about it, she felt good about it. So I was like, wow. So I just left, feeling confident that everything was fine for her.
When Ms. Sanders left, Ms. Washington, you felt better?
Yes, I did at that time, Your Honor.
Just to be clear, and you paid her $2,038 for that one session?
I paid her $535.
For that session?
Yes.
Okay, then what happened?
I found my boyfriend had cheated on me.
All right. So then you find out more disappointing news.
Yes.
And then what happens then?
I had nobody again to go to, so I went back to her again.
You felt better every time you left her, only to have another bad thing happen, and then you felt like you were sinking again.
Yes.
At what point do you decide the cleansings didn't work?
I guess I decided that after the 6 weeks of chakra cleansing.
So you did 6 weeks of chakra cleansing?
Yes.
And then how did you know it did? How do you know this doesn't work?
I didn't feel any better.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
I cannot say, based upon what you've testified to, that what Ms. Sanders said she would do for you, which is try to adjust your chakra and cleanse using the sage and pray, and I think she did the extent of what her practices could do, but I think you're going to need more than that. And it is because of this I can't award you your money back, because we really cannot prove that what she did not work at all, when in essence you testified that it did at first, and then something else happened and you lost that strength. And I want to say to you too, spiritual practice, right? The practice of guiding yourself through trauma or difficult times. It's exactly what it is. It's a practice. If you're not doing it consistently and with intention and true belief in the fact that it works, then it's not going to work for you. And I don't think that it can override psychiatric care when it's needed. All right?
Okay.
I wish you the very best. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
A little let down, but hopefully she doesn't screw somebody else over.
How do you feel about that?
Hey, I just follow the spirits that they lead me and it led me to good. I don't.
Catherine Greenfield claims the custom wedding dress she received looked nothing like the sketch she agreed to. Lily Richards says she already gave Ms. Greenfield more money back than she deserves.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Sean.
The litigants have been sworn in.
Thank you so much. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Greenfield versus Richards. Ms. Greenfield, you are suing Ms. Richards today for $2,500. You say she designed your wedding dress incorrectly. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, tell the court what happened.
Today I am suing Lily Richards for $2,500 because she promised me a beautiful customized wedding dress, but when I went to pick up the final product, it looked nothing like the sketch that we agreed to, and she refused to give me a refund.
Okay, take me back. How did you find Ms. Richards' business?
My cousin referred her to me. My cousin was very happy with her wedding dress. She had a very gorgeous, elaborate gown. So I trusted my cousin, obviously.
So you had seen her work?
Yes.
She referred you to Ms. Richards?
Yes.
At your first meeting, did you bring a sketch or did you bring a picture, an example of the kind of dress you wanted?
I brought 3 inspiration photos.
Do you have those today?
I do not have the inspiration photos, but I do have the original sketch that she agreed to do versus the dress she gave me.
Okay, let me just have those for now and then keep walking me through the process. You show her this originals, you show her the inspiration.
Yes.
She says, yes, I can do that. Hold on, Ms. Richards.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Oh. So what I want to know is you go to her, you bring the inspiration photos. From the inspiration photos, you decide on this dress.
Before we reached that design, she did show me around her showroom. She tried to convince me to buy a dress that was already made. I did not like any of the dresses.
It took her hours, Your
However,
Honor.
I feel like she was really trying to make a sale because she told me, oh, any dress here, if it's not to your liking, I could customize it, I could add more embellishments.
Okay, but stop. I want to hear from you, Ms. Richards, now, and I want you to take me back to your first encounter and the inspiration photos that Ms. Greenfield presented to you. The 3 inspiration photos, did you feel like those were dresses you could accommodate?
Your Honor, what she said is that she wanted me to incorporate 3 inspirational photos into some dress. With only 3 months to her wedding, she wanted me to make her a brand new dress from scratch. There is no way, Your Honor, and I'm sure you understand this, that I could create a dress for her in 3 months, incorporating 3 different photos. That's when I begged her and pleaded with her to
Your Honor, I
to
brought
go
her
through
3 photos because
to go through my.
Stop. This is what I want to understand. So when you saw the inspiration photos, you said to her, I cannot do what you're asking for in 90 days, so you gave her options. I could do another style of dress, which is, I hope, this kind of sketch. This is what you agreed upon. Or you could take a dress that's already in the shop and I can add to, take away from that. Is that clear?
Yes, it is. I just wanted to clarify if you wouldn't mind. Okay, so what I said was that there's no way that I could make you a dress from scratch. First off, she has a very low budget, which I'm not used to, but I took pity on her and I wanted to help her. So I said to her, instead of, just saying no to you, go through my clothes, my beautiful dresses that have already been made, and pick one. And I will do my very best to make your dream day a dream day.
I understand. Can you both agree that then you came up with a sketch of a dress, which is this, that you both agreed you would try to make? Is that true? And if it's true, where's the contract that represents that?
Your Honor, I did the best I could on that sketch.
That you both agreed on?
Yes, Your Honor.
So this is the sketch that is listed and talked about in this order confirmation?
Yes.
Did you agree on this dress?
That dress, Your Honor.
Thank you. So there's 2 dresses. There's one on the left, and then there's one on the right. Am I correct?
The one on the left is the one.
When I say that dress, I meant that is the sketch you agreed on.
The left one, yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then you're saying, Ms. Greenfield, that the one on the right is the dress you received.
She lies, Your Honor. She's a liar.
Your Honor, we agreed to the dress on the right. I wanted it to be very
She's
very
lying.
elaborate,
I told
very
you she's lying.
glamorous, and she gave me the dress on the left.
I did the best I could, Your Honor. I did the very
Well,
best.
you all just said the opposite.
Yes, I wanted the dress on the right. I
And I
wanted
told
it
her
to be
I
very
could not
elaborate.
make that dress. I made it very clear that I would not be able to make that dress, that if I had to make that dress, the dress would be shifted, it would be, it just wouldn't look right, Your Honor, and it would be
Then
damaged.
why did she sketch it in the first place?
Because I wanted to help you. I took pity on you.
Coming up.
So you gave her the dress and $1,000
Yes,
back?
I did, which I
But
thought
it
was
wasn't
a
the
very
full refund.
extremely
I
generous
Stop talking
offer.
at the same time.
And later.
It's this yellow envelope, and it has a wad of money in there. You know, just shocked as, you know, anybody would be shocked to find money in a couch that you just randomly
that you
got.
just paid $300
Exactly.
for, and you found $10,000? Yes.
We're back with a dispute between Catherine Greenfield and designer Lily Richards over a custom wedding dress.
Sound like y'all being petty. That's what it really sounds like. Miss Greenfield, I would like you to tell the court in this moment, and I want to be clear once again because I said earlier, the dress on the left is the one that you wanted, and the dress on the right is what you got, and somebody said yes. So the truth is, it is this dress over here is the one you wanted on the far end.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you got the dress that's closer to me.
And
Yes.
she agreed on that dress. She agreed on the
Please
dress.
tell me what about, and I see a difference, but it is not so substantial from the sketch.
Oh,
I'd
she
like
wants
you-
what she wants when
Miss
she-
Richards, I am going to always give you a chance to respond, but you've got to allow me an opportunity to have her say something that you can respond
Very
to.
upsetting, Your Honor.
I know you're upset, but be quiet for a minute. Okay, just tell me, what was the huge difference? What were you disappointed about?
I wanted floral embellishments covering the entire dress, going all the way down.
Okay.
I wanted pearl beading with crystal lining, and I wanted some more shape and lining up in the bodice area.
Okay, and you wanted all this for $2,500?
Yes, she told me she could do it.
Miss Richards, now I want you to tell me from the dress that she asked for, how did you come to make the dress on the left?
Okay, I explained to Catherine over and over and over that I would not be able to do exactly what she wanted. There's a family relationship here, and I wanted to stay in good standing. I really tried to do the very best that I could.
Let me now address the order confirmation that you gave me. It says one bridal gown with customization. Quantity 1, price $2,500. Ball gown style dress, client wants fuller skirt. We got a fuller skirt. Add floral embroidery down the dress. I see floral embroidery down the dress. Add pearl beading lined with crystals. Is that the bodice?
Yes,
Your Honor.
It's the bust line, Your Honor.
Just
She
the
wants
bust
to
line.
accentuate her breasts on her own wedding, turn it into some kind of a striptease
Oh, my God.
or a burlesque show.
Your
A wedding
Honor,
should
she
be elegant. A
she
wedding
has
should
been
be
rude and
beautiful. A wedding is
unprofessional
a
with me
blessed
this entire
event,
time.
Your Honor. And
Hold on, let's get some order. First of all, there is nothing about this dress that looks like strip club, so I don't know what you're talking about. I realize you're upset, but you're taking it too far now. I want to now understand, you're telling me that you promised her that it would be substantially similar if you couldn't get it to her at her price. None of this is on your order confirmation, though.
I understand that, Your Honor. Unfortunately, a lot of it was verbal. I trusted her, and I thought that we could work
I trusted
together.
her, Your Honor. I
spent
believed her.
hours on that dress, Your Honor. I spent hours.
What did you end up wearing? Did you end up wearing the dress?
I did not wear one of Miss Richards' dresses, no.
So
I
what
had to
happened?
buy another dress. I had to
gave
buy
her
a
the dress,
random
Your Honor.
dress
I gave
off
her the
rack
dress and $1,000.
at the last minute.
So you gave her the dress and $1,000
Yes,
back?
I did, which I
But
thought
it
was a
wasn't the
very
full refund.
extremely
I
generous
Stop talking
offer.
at the same time. You gave her the dress and $1,000. So when she complained, you said, I'll give you the dress and $1,000.
I could not give her a full refund because I had already embellished and customized the dress, which means that I can't resell it. So out of the goodness of my heart and because I cared about her, I gave her $1,000, which I thought was an amazingly generous offer, and the dress.
All right, so you can resell the dress.
No, she can't.
Yes.
Miss Richards, if she owns the dress, she can resell the dress. What are you talking about?
I'm a brand name, Your Honor.
Yeah, you're a brand name that sells dresses to people, and once they pay for them, they're theirs to resell, give away, wear, and do whatever they want to do. I'm starting to question how doing business with you really was. That's one thing in court. You got to know when to talk and you got to know when to be quiet.
Yes, Your Honor.
There's no way she could probably make the dress you were talking about for $2,500. The two dresses that I'm looking at are not so different. And it is for that reason I am not going to rule in your favor, Ms. Greenfield, because as a bride, no, you're going to hear me. Don't talk. Everything outlined in this contract is done on that dress. And I hate that you didn't have the dress you wanted for your wedding and you had to go buy something else, but that does not mean that Ms. Richards did not perform her duty to the best of her ability. And with that said, judgment for the defendant, court is adjourned.
All rise. Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I know you had something against me from the beginning.
Saw right through you.
Oh my God.
She saw everything.
You know what? You're going to pay in another way.
No,
Just
I'm
wait.
not.
Just
no,
wait.
I'm not.
Just
and you know
wait.
what? I want that dress back. You give me
You know
my
what?
dress
I'd rather
back.
throw it away.
You may
I'd
now
rather
exit the
throw that dress
courtroom.
away. I'd rather throw that dress away.
Coming up.
And she said this guy that I went to high school with posted on social media that he got a vintage couch and found $10,000 in it. And I was like, really? And I looked at it and I was like, he looks like the guy who bought my mama's couch.
Susan Howard claims she sold her late mother's couch at a yard sale, not knowing there was $10,000 inside, which clearly belongs to her. Michael Smith says he bought the couch fair and square, so anything he found is his.
Ms. Howard, you are suing Mr. Smith for $10,000. You say he refused to return, and it was found in your mom's couch.
Yes,
all right, and Mr. Smith, you say the plaintiff should have checked the couch before she sold it.
Common sense, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Howard, I want to start with you.
Yes, I did a yard sale, and one of the things I sold was my mother's couch.
How much were you selling the couch for?
Yes, I was selling the couch for $400.
All right.
But the defendant bargained me down to $300.
Okay, and
I didn't want
that's
to be
not
stuck with
unheard
it.
of in a garage sale, in a yard sale, right?
I mean, that's what makes this all bizarre. It's a yard sale. Whatever's on the yard is for sale.
How in the world do you find money in it?
I had some cleaners come in that night and actually, deep clean that couch. They alerted me that they found an envelope underneath. It's this yellow envelope, and it has a wad of money in there. Just shocked as, anybody would be shocked to find money in a couch that you just randomly got.
That you just paid $300
Exactly.
for? And you found $10,000?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So what did you do the moment you found it?
You should have given it back to me.
I started shopping online.
So hold on, Mr. Smith. I do want to understand this, and I appreciate your honesty because if that's what you did, that's what you did. You thought you would come up on $10,000, but the question becomes, how did this get posted on social media?
If you tell your friends this, no one's going to believe you. So I posted, and I'm like, yo, I just got a really good deal on this couch that I picked up at this yard sale. I found $10,000, and all my friends are laughing and hearting the
Does anybody
emojis.
have a copy of that post?
Yes,
Yeah.
Your
Let
Honor.
me see it, please.
Here it is,
And
right
again,
here.
she only has a copy because she has a team of investigators that searched who I am and what I bought from the yard sale.
Came up on this couch at a yard sale. I found $10,000 in it. I literally got my money's worth with the dollar signs and then #bless. So you was in it.
Coming up.
The reason why you could sell it is because it was really your couch.
Okay, Your Honor. Look,
And no, don't interrupt me. Do not interrupt me.
We're back with the case of Susan Howard, who is arguing with Michael Smith over hidden money in her late mother's couch.
I want to hear how you found out about the post.
Yeah, so my cousin called me up and she's like, girl, did you see this post? And she said this guy that I went to high school with posted on social media that he got a vintage couch and found $10,000 in it. And I looked at it and I was like, this guy looks familiar. I was like, he looks like the guy who bought my mama's couch. So I proceeded to investigate.
As you should have.
Right. And I ended up looking it up, and come to find out it was him.
And so what happened? Did you reach out to him?
Yes, I messaged him, and asked him to please return the money, the $10,000. I had no idea that money was inside of my mama's couch.
So you're saying in these text messages you didn't know the money was there?
I did not. I mean, why would I sell my mama's couch knowing that there's $10,000 in it?
And then you respond, Mr. Smith, I'm sorry, you should have just checked the couch cushions before you sold it. And the money is a blessing to me, and clearly the universe wanted me to have it.
So
he thought the money was just a blessing.
Yeah.
That was my mama's, that belongs to me now.
Okay, and you've had the couch for how many years?
That doesn't matter. She brought it brand new.
My point is
what
this.
really does matter is when your mom passed away.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you her only child?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
All right, and she did not have a husband?
No, Your Honor.
All right. If she left everything to you, you're the owner. And even though you still refer to it as your mother's couch, the reason why you could sell it is because it was really your couch.
Okay, Your Honor. Look,
and no, don't interrupt me. Do not interrupt me.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
You posted it, you celebrated, you confessed, and at the end of the day, you alerted Miss Howard.
Finders keepers is a thing.
Finders keepers only works when the owner never comes back to seek out the property that was theirs. And Miss Howard came back
days later
and asked you.
Days later.
Listen,
doesn't matter.
Days later.
And listen, the couch is yours, but the money is hers. And it's interesting to me because it is not unheard of for money to be hidden somewhere in a house. Therefore, judgment for the plaintiff for $10,000. Court is adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you.
All rise.
Thank you.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $10,000.
So, how do you feel about the judge's verdict?
Oh, I'm happy. I'm going to be waiting for my money, though, when we get out there. $10,000. You better return a whole bunch of stuff that you purchased, because it's mine.
Delusion is one hell of a drug.
Joseph Richter claims his ex-fiancée threw his engagement ring after they argued during a hiking trip, losing the ring forever. Daniel McEwen says he was overwhelmed by the heat, and it's not his fault the plaintiff can't catch.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Sean. Thank you. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Richter versus McEwen. Mr. Richter, you are suing Mr. McEwen for $7,350. The cost of a ring you say was tossed away on a hiking trip.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the defendant, Mr. McEwen, says it's not your fault that the plaintiff can't catch.
Correct.
All right, well, I want to hear what happened here. Mr. Richter, I'll start with you.
So we were just celebrating our engagement. I proposed to him 11 months ago. I got him a Aurora engagement ring, and he just was upset. We got to our trip for Death Valley. I surprised him with the trip, made sure to have all of our supplies together, have emergency supplies all run together.
Okay.
By the time we got there,
What'd you plan on doing at this trip?
we were planning on going up to a destination, which would be on top of the mountain that we were going
Okay,
hiking
so
over.
hiking.
Yes,
14
hiking.
miles, Your Honor.
Yes,
14
14 miles, but nothing that he hasn't done before. We're a very adventurous couple. That's actually one of the reasons why I was so attracted to him in the first place, was because we met at a sail race, St. Martin, so about 3 years ago.
All right, so you are an adventurous couple.
Yes.
Did you both plan this trip, or was this trip planned by just you and it was a surprise?
It was planned by me, but as soon as I surprised him with the trip, he already knew where we were going. He knew the history of Death Valley, so I mean, he knew what to expect.
Your Honor, I didn't find out where we were going until the day of. So it wasn't like I had much time to prepare,
Oh, so it was kind of a surprise
It was a
trip.
surprise, yes.
That's the whole point of a surprise. A surprise trip.
A surprise. So how would I prepare for a surprise?
But you had one day, and even then, you could have said no. You didn't say no. maybe you said, let's go. And you were excited about it.
Were you excited, Mr. McEwen?
Your Honor, I was excited about the trip. As Joe was saying, we are an adventurous couple. I didn't realize until we got to Death Valley that he was really ill-prepared. I would like to present some evidence.
I'd like to see it, please.
Thank you.
So you say he wasn't prepared?
He was not prepared.
How was he not prepared?
In Death Valley, it always has these really large temperature changes. So from the bottom to the top, it's like drastic
Which he
increase
knew
or
about
decreases.
prior.
I knew about the day of. He keeps saying prior as if I knew a week or two in advance. I knew when we got in the car to go.
Did you know before you stepped foot out and start climbing up?
Yes. But Joe had already claimed that he had prepared everything. He was like, I have the bags, I have the water.
I have clothes too.
I have the trekking poles, which we didn't have. We ran out of water 6 miles into the hike. I was having sickness. My body was swelling. I told Joe that we just couldn't continue the hike anymore.
So you asked to go back down. You didn't want to continue.
Halfway through, I asked to go back down.
And so what happened?
We got into an argument, and I basically told Joe I couldn't do it anymore. So I took the ring off. I nodded to Joe that I was going to toss it to him. He nodded back.
That is not what happened.
And I tossed the ring. He threw his hands out.
Definitely not what happened.
The ring dropped on the ground. We both searched for about 5 minutes. And again, I was just in extreme...
You tossed a ring on the side of a mountain you were hiking?
I'm sorry, we searched for 5 minutes?
I searched for 5 minutes. Yes, I did. I was going through extreme trauma and pain, Joe.
You searched for 5 minutes.
I told you that I wanted to search
until it was dark.
Let's get some order. I want to understand this. What possessed you? I don't care how hot you were. I don't care. Why would you take the ring off? Because of an argument?
My finger was literally swollen, Judge. As you can see from the evidence, it was 116 degrees when we started the hike.
That is too hot to be hiking, but yes.
But Your Honor, I want to also add that it was extremely hot that day, and it was not the normal temperature that it should have been, because that's the reason why we went out there during springtime.
But did anybody check the temperature before you went up to see what it was going to be that day?
You know, with weather changes, it fluctuates, so you never know until you actually get there some of the times.
Coming up.
You nod, or you didn't see the ring coming?
I didn't see the ring. It's a ring. It's not like it's a baseball.
He did not. Okay.
No.
Funny you say baseball. You play baseball, so you should have caught the ring.
And later.
I've tried talking to the pastor, and the only thing that he said is he's just going to pray for me because I need Jesus.
I'm very approachable. You can talk to me.
We're back with a dispute between Joseph Richter and his former fiancée, Daniel McEwen, over a lost engagement ring.
What would possess you to take the ring off and toss it to Mr. Richter?
The argument really was about my well-being. I just felt like he was inconsiderate of me and how I was feeling. Again, we're the only ones who are really on this mountain. So to continue to go to the top where I'm already feeling sick, if something happens to me, we're stuck there.
How did the argument escalate so far that you felt like when you took this ring off to toss it to him, Mr. McEwen, you were deciding that it was over? Like you was ending the whole relationship on the side of the mountain?
And the worst part about it...
Well, it's just typical of how our relationship goes. You know, we go on all of these adventures.
I'm sorry, who blocked who?
It's really because...
Who blocked who? Because I was trying to talk to you.
Can I speak, or are you just going to continue to do what you've been doing the whole entire time?
Well, you did with me, so let me interrupt you.
Mr. Richter.
So hold on. Is this the first time you all broke up?
Yes, in the 3 years that we've been together, Yes, exactly. We have never had an issue. We've always communicated everything.
So at the point where you've gotten angry, you're hot, you're tired, y'all in the argument because you don't think he's respecting and cares about your well-being, you get so mad you take the ring off. You say you look at him like you're going to toss it, and then you say, yes, Mr. Richter, toss it. You nod, or you didn't see the ring coming?
I didn't see the ring. It's a ring. It's not like it's a baseball.
He did nod. Okay.
No.
Funny you said baseball. You play baseball, so you should have caught the ring.
Boy, it's a ring, not a baseball.
So, Mr. Richter, what I want to know is, did you nod and say to him?
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
I did not, Your Honor.
Yes, he did.
I didn't even know. At that point, we were arguing. It was heated. I didn't realize that he was going to take off his ring and throw it off.
Because that don't even sound like an argument.
Right.
When you're arguing with somebody and you want to take a ring off and throw it, I mean, that's one motion. Off, throw.
Your Honor, I wish that I could get you to understand
Your Honor, I
the
also
extreme
want to add
conditions
this.
that we were really in.
Not only did he throw the ring, He, like you said, he spent the 5 minutes looking for that ring. I spent until it was dark as
Your
night
Honor, it was
before,
so hot
before
out there,
heading
the
down there.
coyotes were like skipping across the burning
And then
sands.
they'll make it worse. He goes all the way down the mountain, waits in the car, and then we start arguing, and then he breaks off everything.
And so you never found the ring?
No.
All right.
I would like to state, Your Honor, that the ring wasn't insured as well.
As I already stated, yes,
Does
it was not
anybody have a
insured.
receipt for the ring? Do you
I
have
do.
it,
May
Mr.
I
Richter?
May I
May I
present
see
my
it,
evidence?
please?
Thank you.
And so let me ask you this. When you came down the mountain and cooled off, did you all get back together?
No. He actually blocked me. I reached out to him repeatedly before coming here today. That's the only reason why I'm here today, because this man decided to
I see
take
the
the
receipt
cheap
for
way
the
out.
ring, $7,350.
Yes, that's correct.
Custom diamond setting.
And customized as well.
Your Honor, I was just done with Joe at the end of that day. Him not caring about my well-being, him, again, literally, I was almost on my knees on this mountain.
So this obviously this argument is rooted in something that happened before you ever went hiking.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I cannot see.
Absolutely, Pitt. It just sounds like you just don't want to communicate about anything.
You
which
act
is
like
why
you don't
walk.
know.
No,
Okay,
what?
okay, Joe.
No, tell me, say it.
I've already said it. You don't consider my feelings or my well-being.
Give me a day and time then.
Anytime we've ever gone on a trip, Joe, how many times have I said to you, hey, why don't we just go somewhere? Maybe we go to a nice island, we can relax, we can do this. And it's always, maybe, okay, next time. And we do whatever it is that you want to do. And I stuck through it for 3 years because I do love you. But I can't do this anymore.
What I'm hearing is, Mr. Richter, you are the real adventurous one. And because Mr. McEwen loved you, wanted to be in a relationship with you, he just wanted to experience whatever you wanted to experience and be with you, although that was not necessarily his choice. With that said, Mr. McEwen, I can understand how this kind of hike would make you want to tell Mr. Richter to take a hike, right? I can see how you could be on the side of this mountain like, now I done bit off more than I can chew because I don't want to be here. I'm hot. I don't feel well. I'm scared, right? And then your adventurous partner is like, no, you can do it. You can do it. I get that. But this is not the time to take off a very valuable ring that you've been given and decide you're going to get so mad, you're going to throw it to him. Now, an engagement ring is a conditional gift in many ways. There are various ways that states and courts have ruled on this, but in most instances, it's viewed as a gift in condition, right? On condition that something happens, and that is the marriage. You did not handle that appropriately. It was actually extremely negligent, and you had no business taking such a valuable thing off, throwing it across the mountain, and for that reason, you haven't even gotten married. It is the determination of this court. Judgment for the plaintiff for $7,350. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $7,350.
I'm so done with you.
As you
Honestly,
should.
like don't talk
be
to
done.
me.
No, be done with me. I'm trying to go on my
Don't
trip to
talk me.
Fiji.
Please go to the trip to Fiji and don't come back. Actually,
I don't plan to.
One-way trip,
I have trust
please.
issues
Stay
now
over
because
there.
of you, because your goofy self.
All right, gentlemen, let's go.
Coming up.
Did you realize it was a church revival going on at the time?
Yes, I was aware.
Oh, you did know that?
Yes.
How did you know? Because of the signage outside?
Not just the signage, but the loud music itself.
All right.
Well, he intentionally likes to just interrupt our services because he's an atheist.
Willard Nicholas claims disruptions from a neighbor during his church revival caused donations to come up short. Eddie Colon says he tried to talk to the pastor but was ignored, so he had to take matters into his own hands.
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Nicholas versus Colon. Mr. Nicholas, you are suing Mr. Colon for $2,500 for disrupting your church revival. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And the defendant says he should not have to pay. He didn't do anything wrong, right?
That is true.
I want to start with you, Mr. Nicholas. What happened?
I am suing this man because he interrupted my revival. We was trying to raise $4,000, but we came up short due to his behavior. And, we need this money for the community. We have several outreach programs that we have.
What was happening? You're having a revival in a church or outside?
inside the church. We do it 7 days, for 7 days straight, once in the morning and once in the evening.
How close is his house to the church?
His house is literally next door. He's my neighbor. But he likes to get out and play loud music, loud rock music, and interfere with the church services that we have every Sunday.
Did you realize it was a church revival going on at the time?
Yes, I was aware.
Oh, you did know that?
Yes.
How did you know? Because of the signage outside?
Not just the signage, but the loud music itself that they were playing.
The loud music that they were playing?
Yes.
At the revival?
Yes.
All right.
Well, he intentionally likes to just interrupt our services because he's an atheist.
How long have you been living next to this church, Mr. Colon?
I'd say for about maybe 2 months now. I relocated for a job. I've tried talking to the pastor, and the only thing that he said is he's just going to pray for me because I need Jesus.
I'm very approachable. You can talk to me anytime.
Coming up,
he got at some of my congregation members and was like, I'm feeling sick. I can't sleep.
we're back with the case of Willard Nicholas, who brought Eddie Colon to court over a disrupted church revival.
So you're trying to raise money.
Trying to raise money.
And how many evenings is this that the music goes up? How many times have you been trying to do the revival and the music is loud?
Well, my congregation, I handed them flyers to hand out to the people in the community so we can get offerings and donations for the revival. But he circulated a petition to stop all that from happening. He got at some of my congregation members and was like, I'm feeling sick, I can't sleep, I can't do this, I can't do that. So he kind of threw a monkey wrench in the program of me raising money for the revival. So we came up short on the money.
Well, how much money you think you lost because of Mr. Colon's music?
Well, I have evidence right here because last year we made $4,000.
All right.
And this year we only made $1,500.
Okay.
So you understand, we need that $2,500 that I'm suing for. We really need this money because we got a lot of homeless people. We got pregnant women and their kids. We need to feed them. We need to provide some shelter for all type of people.
Do you own that home or do you rent it?
I am currently renting the home.
All right. So it's just been 60 days.
Yes.
People have a right to use and quiet enjoyment of their home, meaning when they rent a place or when they own it, you have a right to be able to enjoy yourself inside your home, doing the things you love to do. But you have to be mindful of neighbors. There's courtesy, right? You have to be mindful of how your actions could affect another. Now, both of you, you are a church,
yes,
but
ma'am.
you also live right next to a residential home.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
I believe that conducting a revival at night after 6, 7 o'clock when others could be resting is the smartest thing to do when potentially you could have done the revival maybe earlier in the day.
No other tenant has complained. He's the first tenant that lived in that house that's complained.
But there's always somebody. I don't know about
Always
you,
somebody, that's
but
right.
I've lived on enough streets to know. Mr. Colon might be a terrible neighbor. He might even be a jerk. But he's not liable for the $2,500 you did not make. Because there is no way for you to prove that the church would have made that money. You can't prove that definitively. Mr. Nicholas, what I advise is when you're doing your revivals, next time, make them earlier in the day. Mr. Colon, when they let you know what time it's gonna be, let it be sometime when he at work. Do it during the week. Do it sometime where he's not around until his lease is up. And then you need to get yourself another place to live.
Amen. Hallelujah.
This is a waste of everybody's time. You could be in there trying to save some more souls,
Save
Mr.
souls,
Nicholas.
that's what I
Judgment
do.
for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
You know what, man? I don't even believe this, man. You know what? I'm a roll with the judge. I respect her, but you, I don't respect you. And I ain't gonna love thy neighbor. I ain't gonna do that. Not me. Not in this lifetime. Lord, forgive me.
You could probably enjoy it.
But yeah, you need to move. You need to shake the spot in a real way.
Tiffany Mendoza claims her trainer promised her perfect abs in 90 days, but she didn't see results. Sam Lowe's says Ms. Mendoza didn't stick to the program and skipped weekly check-ins, so she has no one to blame but herself.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. You may be seated. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Mendoza versus Lowe's. Ms. Mendoza, you are suing Mr. Lowe's for $1,000 because you say you did not get the results that you were promised from a 90-day ab challenge.
That's right.
And the defendant, Mr. Lowe's, you say that the plaintiff failed to fulfill her obligations. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's
All
correct.
right. I want
Yes.
to understand this ab challenge. Where did you hear about it? How did you meet Mr. Lowe's? Explain to the court, Ms. Mendoza, what led you here.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw his ad for a 90-day ab program. It's about to be summertime. I wanted to get my abs ready, so I contacted him. I reached out, and he had me pay $1,000 up front for meal plans, workouts, and weekly check-ins. So I did it, and 2.5 months go by, and I saw no results, Your Honor.
Mr. Lowe, she said she did 2.5 months on your meal plan, your workouts, everything, and she saw no results.
Yes, Your Honor. There were results, but not only that, I have a 90-day program. I've been training for over 5 years. She's not my first client, and she definitely won't be my last client. I just needed her to be consistent, and there was a lot of times that she did not follow through with that part of the deal, so therefore I couldn't help her reach the goal that she
Tell me what the
needs.
program entails.
Your Honor, I was on a plant-based meal. I was working out twice a day, every day. I was meeting with him weekly, and I didn't even lose a pound, Your Honor. Not even a pound.
Your Honor, that's not true, Your Honor. I also have proof of other clients that I've worked with that have followed my workout regimen and that have seen true results.
Your Honor, I am not worried about them. I am worried about my results.
Do you have a copy of the program? Is it written anywhere?
Yes, Your Honor.
May I see that,
can
Sean?
present to you the evidence right there. Right there, you can see the meal plan that I followed, the advertisement.
90-day ab transformation.
Perfected, guaranteed, he stated.
Guaranteed ab perfection.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, if they consistently follow through with the program, Your Honor. I also have proof of my own that shows when I checked in with her and times when I could not get in contact with her, Your Honor.
So I see here you signed the contract. You had a goal of losing 8 pounds.
Yes.
And a lean and toned appearance and 6-pack abs. These were your goals.
These were the goals that we came up with together after we talked, and he kind of modified it to my body type.
And what's interesting is it also says that client understands that to reach those goals, she must stay consistent with all workout instruction and knows that the trainer isn't held responsible for client results if the regimen isn't met.
Yes, Your Honor, which I find kind of sketchy because I followed everything to a T and there were no results.
But if you found it sketchy, why did you even sign this?
Well, I found it sketchy after I did not see any results. After the 2 months in, I double-checked back in with him and I told him, okay, what can we change? I have no results. I've been hungry. I completely changed my diet. I don't even go out with my friends to the same restaurants anymore. I work out twice a day. What can we do? And he just told me to keep working hard, that I was doing everything right. And that's when my suspicions started to come in.
That he was running a scam?
Exactly.
So, Mr. Lowe's?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Mendoza is saying she's an unsatisfied customer. She says she went through your program and followed it to the T for 2.5 months, only to get no results.
Yes, so actually, I have proof. Number one, it is a 3-month process, so even if she wants to say she's came to me for 2.5 months, it takes a full 90 days, Your Honor, and I have proof if I can provide the proof
I'd like to see that, please.
Okay.
Coming up.
I see abs coming in, don't you, Sean?
I see several abs.
And that's just from 2 months.
I mean, the gallery can see abs, right?
Yes.
Shoot, I'm about to get on Mr. Lowe's program.
And later.
Anyone who was driving that car and a rearview mirror fell right in front of their eyesight, they would have been distracted and most likely hit a car.
We're back with the case of Tiffany Mendoza, who brought her trainer Sam Lowe's to court over the promise of perfect abs.
All right, I see these pictures.
Yes, Your Honor.
A lot of impressive before and afters.
And if you look at her, Your Honor, as you can tell, her abs were even coming in, and that's
Ms.
just
Mendoza.
Yes, and
that's
that's just
Ms.
2
Mendoza.
months. Yes, that's
So, Ms. Mendoza, you look good.
Exactly.
But I wanted abs.
I can see abs.
I paid $1,000 for abs.
It
On a
would take
teacher's
the-
salary, that's a lot of money.
So what about that picture doesn't say toned abs to you?
I wanted a six-pack.
I see abs coming in, don't you, Sean?
I see several ads.
And,
Yeah.
and that's just from 2
I mean,
months.
the
Your Honor.
gallery can see abs, right?
Yes.
Shoot, I'm about to get on Mr. Lowe's program. Give me
Yeah.
some abs that Ms. Mendoza says are not abs. But anyway, Mr. Lowe, to be very honest with you,
Yes.
this customer expected something different than what she got.
My part of the deal is to give her consistent training. She didn't consistently come to me within the 90-day program, so it's very difficult to expect perfection when you're not giving me
So
full
I'm
effort.
looking at this contract you sent up in your evidence because
Yes,
it
Your
says
Honor.
that the client agrees for weekly check-ins to see progress or to adjust the workout regimen.
Yes, Your
And that
Honor.
the client agrees to follow a 90-day plant-based meal plan for the maximum results. And the last clause says client must understand that the trainer is not responsible for the client's outcome and results, solely rely on the client's consistency. That's
Your
clearly
Honor.
stated in the contract. I see your signature and I see his signature.
Yes, Your Honor.
I was consistent, Your Honor.
Also,
Was she consistent, Mr. Lowe's?
No, Your Honor. Also, in the proof that I gave you, I also have details of when I reached out to her in our weekly check-ins. I'll admit, the first month, she did great. She was checking in with me, which is why she did have results, you understand?
So
But-
the client check-in plan,
Yes, ma'am.
here it is. And so I see that she was there week 1, week 2,
Yes.
week 3, week 4.
Yes.
Starting week 5, it says missed check-in due to nail
Yes,
appointment.
exactly, Your
Week
Honor.
6, your upper strength is declined. You did come on week 6. Then week 7, you missed it again. You had a doctor's appointment. Then week 8, you adjusted some of the upper body weight. Week 9, you just didn't show. Week 10, you came back, and then week 11 and week 12, you didn't show.
Yes,
Your Honor, I communicated with him about why I couldn't show those specific days.
Why couldn't you reschedule?
That's my point. I wanted to reschedule, but he has other clients, so he couldn't meet. We couldn't come up with a date.
Well, that's the problem when they're in demand. If you get a good trainer that's getting results, they're going to be in demand.
But these are not the results I paid for, is
All
what
right.
I'm saying.
So and I'm so glad you said that because I went back to the agreement, the intake form where you started to talk about your goals.
Right.
8-pound weight loss. You said you didn't lose a pound.
Not a pound.
Muscle gain. Do you think you gained muscle? You look pretty lean to me.
Yes, I believe I did gain muscle.
A firmer butt. Do you think your butt got firmer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Healthier eating habits. If you were following that plan, being plant-based.
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah.
Lean and toned appearance. That came through.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the 6-pack abs. I might not have seen 6 yet, but I was about at 4.
Your Honor, he guaranteed perfected
Also, Your
abs.
Honor.
But when you perfect something, just like you perfect a craft, that means you improve it.
Your Honor.
What are perfect abs?
A 6-pack. We could have started at a 6-pack.
Every person has something on their bodies that they could continue to perfect in some way.
Your Honor,
Exactly,
the pictures
Your Honor, and I tried
Can
to
I
explain
speak?
that to her, and
Can
I
I
also
speak?
let her know at the beginning that everybody has different results depending on how hard you work. And she didn't want to follow through with her part of the bargain, like getting your nails done instead of working out. She just wants to
That's
post
blasphemy.
pictures. Blasphemy. She
Your
just
Honor,
wants to post pictures
I
on
still worked
Instagram.
out. I just didn't meet with him. I needed my nails done. But I still did the workouts. Just because I didn't meet with him doesn't mean that I wasn't doing them.
And so why is it important to meet?
It's very important to me. That's the only way that I can truly gauge where my clients are at. I need to see how they work out. That tells me, which part of their abs they need to work on. Also, her goals are unrealistic, and I tried to explain that to her at the beginning of the process. She wants to lose weight, but also gain muscle mass.
Your Honor, I would not have brought him here if I felt like I did not do my part. I did do my part.
But Ms. Mendoza, you already admitted in court that you did not come to very pivotal check-ins. You made the error by not coming to all of the check-ins.
Yes, Your Honor.
I do not agree, Your Honor.
I know you don't. You're a beautiful young woman. I can see that you look toned, you look fit. You may not have gotten everything you wanted, but you look great.
Your Honor,
I get
thank
it.
you so much, but at the end of the day,
It
I'm
has
an
been
unhappy
determined
customer.
by this court.
Your Honor.
Judgment for the defendant. Ms. Mendoza, when you sign up for something and you pay your money, you gotta go.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
At the end of the day, there's nothing anyone can say. I signed up for something, I paid for something, and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So to me, you're a scam and will be a scam.
There's nothing I have to say. The proof is in the pudding. I showed the judge what the truth is, and I wish you would understand what the truth is.
Coming up,
On the flip side, Mr. Winters, you knew your car had an issue with the rearview mirror. That's unsafe for you, and you should certainly have let Mr. Moreau know.
Chris Winters claims he let his friend borrow his car for an interview, but it was wrecked in an accident before he got it back. Greg Morrow says Mr. Winters willingly loaned him the car, knowing it was falling apart.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Winters versus Moreau. Mr. Winters, you are suing Mr. Moreau for $1,000 to cover your insurance deductible. Mr. Moreau, you say the accident was all the plaintiff's fault. Is that correct?
That is correct,
All right,
Your Honor.
let's start with you, Mr. Winters. What happened?
Yeah, so we were roommates in college, and I know that he's always been trying to pursue dreams in the big tech. And so when I heard he had an interview, I let him to borrow my car. When it came back, he had rear-ended someone, and that's how I incurred the $1,000 deductible that I'm now suing him for.
All right, so take me to that day, Mr. Moreau. What happened in the car?
What happened was I was pulling out of a parking lot, and his rearview mirror fell down while I was pulling out, which caused me to hit the car in front of me.
All right, so you're pulling out forward,
Yeah.
and the
Rearview mirror.
rearview mirror drops.
Yes.
And what happens?
And I went to grab it, and next thing you know, the car in front of me stopped a little short, and I bumped right into him.
Your Honor, if I can add one more thing he's not mentioning, I have some more evidence to bring up. On his Instagram stories, I happened to see him eating an ice cream cone at the same time in one hand while he was driving.
Well, he wasn't doing a full Insta story while he was driving,
Yes,
was he?
Your Honor. I actually have that.
Let me see that evidence, please.
I'll take your whole evidence folder here. Thank you.
Thank you. Were you eating ice cream and driving and doing an Insta story, Mr. Moreau?
Now, the Insta story happened while I was parked. I was parked in the parking lot, took the picture, and then I drove off to bring the car back to him.
But you were eating ice cream.
I was carefully eating the ice cream while pulling out the parking lot. But anyone who was driving that car and a rearview mirror fell right in front of their eyesight, they would have been distracted and most likely hit a car.
Coming up,
And you also submitted evidence to the court of what your car looked like after the.
we're back with the case of Chris Winters, who blames his friend Greg Morrow for damage to his car.
I need to ask you, Mr. Winters, did you have any idea that your rear view mirror was loose and could fall off?
Honestly, Your Honor, it is something that I've dealt with before, and I do keep a pair of glue in the glove compartment where he could, repair
He
that
did
if
not
needed.
tell me about that, though.
All right, so when he borrowed the car, did you mention that at all?
No, Your Honor.
So you just was hoping that glue was gonna hold while Mr. Moreau borrowed your car?
In my defense, he still hit the car in front of him. It wasn't the car behind him, it was the car in front, so it doesn't matter the rear view mirror was working.
Yes, it does.
It just happened at the same time he had the ice cream cone in his hand.
All right, so you're saying if he wasn't eating ice cream, he wouldn't have hit the car?
It didn't help, for sure.
All right, so you only had one hand on the wheel, Mr. Moreau, because you were eating the ice cream, or you weren't holding the ice cream at the time of the accident?
I was holding the ice cream at the time of the accident. I did have my wrist rested on the wheel to, keep it sturdy. And I'm sure.
Do you
people in
think
here-
that's the proper way to drive a car?
No, but
Do you remember how they teach you how to drive a car?
yeah,
Where should your hands be?
10 and 2.
And why is that?
Safety. Be
For
safe.
safety.
Yeah.
So that if something happens, you will be able to do what? Gallery? Very good. React quickly, maintain control. On the flip side, Mr. Winters, you knew your car had an issue with the rearview mirror. That's unsafe for you, and you should certainly have let Mr. Moreau know.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
So now I'm looking at your invoice here, and you also submitted evidence to the court of what your car looked like after the accident. That is a significant amount of damage. That says to me you weren't just pulling out of a lot. You were going at a speed over what you would go pulling out of a parking lot.
Well, the car in front of me stopped short pretty fast and just caught me off guard.
When you borrow somebody else's car, I think you would owe even a higher duty of care driving someone else's car to make sure you're not doing anything that could distract you. So I think both of you are responsible, and both of you should contribute to this deductible. For that reason, judgment for the plaintiff for $500, which is half of the $1,000 petition for. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $500.
So what do you both think about the verdict?
It's not quite what I wanted, but I'll accept it.
Yeah, I guess it's fair.
Are you guys still friends?
We'll have to see about that.
Yeah, maybe get an ice cream cone, talk about it.
Daphne Mason claims she was mortified to learn she was given a fake engagement ring. Jordan Wall says his ex-fiancée was never clear on what she wanted, so he gave her an ethical diamond ring.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Mason versus Walls. Ms. Mason, you are suing Mr. Walls for $2,375. He's your ex-fiancé, and you say you sue him for the cost of a fake ring. And Mr. Walls, you say it was an ethical ring.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So it was not meant to be a real gem.
Correct.
All right, so take me to how you all met and got engaged.
Okay, so I and Jordan met 3 years ago in Aspire, High Life, where I worked, and we were both going to the same university in Austin for business. And we fell in love right away. Like, we were both into nutrition and environment. Like, I have always been very environmental friendly, and he and his family have not been. But yeah, we fell in love, and after like 2 years, we moved in together. It was all like we had a really good relationship. And then eventually we decided on getting married. And so I'm from Germany originally, and I don't need him for marriage, but I thought it's nice, we love each other, like we should do that. But it was not even a romantic thing, which I think now looking back at it really bothers me.
Your Honor,
But,
she
yeah.
did not want it to be a romantic thing.
But I never said I didn't want it.
Daphne, this is the basis of our relationship has been no gender roles, has been
The basis of our
progressive.
relationship has been love, I hope.
Of course. You are correct about that, Daphne.
Yeah.
But we met at the spa, you know, she always steered me towards non-cruelty products, towards, you know, as she said, I come from a family that is not super environmentally friendly, and she taught me about this, and that kind of formed the relationship that we have, or had, was environmentally friendly, was progressive, was no gender roles. So this was something that we spoke about.
Okay, so we did, yeah, so this is what we did. So we agreed on getting married, getting engaged, and we said that both of us should have a ring, like an engagement ring and an engagement ring for me.
All right.
So I went, and you have to know that I don't have a lot of money. I come from, like, I don't have a support system. I live here by myself. He has a huge family. They're really rich. And
Daphne, but you know
yeah.
I don't take money from my family. Yes, that's what I come from.
Yeah, but you have
I
a
don't-
support system. I don't. And I built my own business a year ago, and it's a small, tiny business. I don't have a lot of money. You know that. And we split
you know I
everything.
wanted to be there for you.
Get us to the ring.
Yeah. So I went, chose like the most expensive, beautiful diamond ring for him.
It wasn't the
And
most expensive.
So you all were going to do something progressive, and you were going to buy
A ring
Mr.
for
Walls a ring for the engagement as well.
Right. This is what we like.
An
We like the
exchange of
idea
rings.
that we
It's
both
going to be
have-
an exchange.
Correct.
So you weren't going to wait until the wedding for an exchange of rings. You're going to do it now for the engagement.
Well, we wanted to exchange engagement rings, and then
And an
you know,
engagement
of course,
party,
and
yeah.
with an engagement party, and then we would exchange, you know, wedding bands. At the
So you
wedding.
both agreed on that?
We did.
Yes, we like the idea, both of us.
So what went wrong?
So we planned a party, an engagement party, where we were to exchange the rings. And I loved the ring he gave me. I was really proud of it. It was like a huge diamond. It looked so gorgeous. And I went and I showed it to everyone. And then after 2 weeks, because I loved it so much, I went back to the jeweler where I bought his ring and asked the jeweler if we can get like matching wedding bands.
So do you have a picture of that?
Yes.
Here, I'll take the whole.
Okay.
There we go.
And the jeweler laughed at me and said it's a fake ring. It's not a real diamond. It's not a real diamond
Daphne,
ring.
it's an ethical ring.
Okay,
it's not
but it's
a fake ring. And it still was. It wasn't wildly expensive, but I still spent a nice amount of money on it. I wasn't going to get
But
you.
the embarrassment, you understand how embarrassing that is?
And so these are the rings.
Yes.
You see, it's a very nice ring.
It's a nice ring.
I did not
Nice.
spend no money on it. I spent a nice
And
amount
how
of
does
money.
anybody else know when they're looking at it that it's not a real diamond?
They didn't. The jeweler told me.
The basis of our relationship, yes, is love, Daphne. But having such a care for the environment and worrying about the environment, you know, a moissanite
But now you
ring,
made
I
me
can
look like
make
an
sure it's
idiot.
not a conflict diamond. I can make sure it's not a blood diamond.
Okay, if you choose an ethical ring, okay, but tell me. Don't let me walk around like a fool showing everyone my diamond ring when it's in fact not. Why didn't you just tell me?
Coming up.
She really
I
dislikes me.
understand there is tension between you two. There's no doubt about that.
She
but she
thinks
does not
that I'm
hate
marrying
you.
him for the money. And
Okay.
I'm constantly proving that
I don't think it helps that you're upset about the ethical ring.
And later.
And she stayed for 3 nights. And on the 3rd night, they left food out. And that is when a bearhead came and destroyed the property.
We're back with the case of Daphne Mason, who brought her ex-fiancé Jordan Walls to court over a fake diamond ring.
Where is the ring that you bought Mr. Walls? Where is this ring? Where's the ring you bought Mr. Walls?
I'm wearing it right now, Your Honor.
Oh, yours goes
I
on the
am.
pinky.
It is a pinky
Okay, that's
ring.
how it goes until you move it to your ring finger.
Well, again, not something we talked about as far as which finger it goes on. I typically wear a pinky ring. I didn't expect
And
my
then at the marriage-
my man engagement ring to be on my pinky, but that's what she chose.
Okay.
So I didn't ask her if she wanted a diamond or
The
a
man
moissanite.
engagement ring.
The man engagement ring, yes.
All right, let me see it. Sean, can you please?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So it's nice. It has diamonds going. Wow, all the way around. Very nice.
It's not even about the money. It's really just me feeling not valued as a woman by his side, especially by his family.
Okay, Ms. Mason, I get it. I really do. However, I'm getting to something you said earlier, Mr. Walls. If the basis of your relationship was to be environmentally friendly, to think about a minimalist way of life, it probably seems logical that Mr. Walls maybe thought, again, like he said, we're not going to be dealing with a blood diamond. We're not going to be So his thought process seems logical, but I understand to a woman who's excited to become a bride and a fiance, this was disappointing. How do you reconcile that with the way that you two structured your relationship? Would you have been mad if you also got an ethical ring?
No, not at all. Your Honor, one of the business ventures that we've talked about, one of them is an ethical jewelry line. So I figured this, moissanite ring is something that Daphne would appreciate, not only because it's not a conflict diamond, it's not polluting the environment or displacing people.
I do understand all of this. I do understand. I just once in your life want to be the #1 woman, not your mom. I don't like.
You are the #1 woman.
I cannot compete with any of your family members.
Why do you feel in competition with his family members, Miss Mason?
Because he's such a mommy's boy and she hates me. Like
She doesn't hate you,
she
Daphne.
hates me.
She does not hate you.
She really
I
dislikes me.
understand there is tension between you two. There's no doubt about that.
She
but she
thinks
does not
that I'm
hate
marrying
you.
him for the money. And
Okay.
I'm constantly proving that.
I don't think it helps that you're upset about the ethical ring.
Well,
are you all still engaged right now, or are you married?
No, I broke up.
You broke up with him over this. Okay.
I was just devastated. I just wanted honesty. I don't know. I just wanted to feel like.
If you want honesty, though, Ms. Mason, you have to give it, right? And it could have been a simple conversation about, I love ethical jewelry. I want to do the jewelry line. But when it comes to my engagement ring, this is what I want.
It was really important to me.
You can't be passive aggressive about things like that and then get upset. You might have ruined a really great relationship over just a ring. I'm going to give you your ring back, Mr. Walls.
Thank you.
Here you are.
Mr. Walls, do you have anything else you'd like to add before I adjourn court?
Your Honor, it's a shame to be here. I didn't want to be here. Obviously, Daphne is someone that I really care about. I understand the tension from her side, the tension with my mom thinking she's after family money, thinking that she's after a green card. I understand her side.
I just really wanted a diamond ring.
If you would have communicated that with me,
I know.
I think we could have moved on. And
I know.
I didn't want to do this here, but you know, it's been very difficult getting in contact with you. And Daphne, if you want a real diamond ring, I'm happy to do it the right way. Will you? Can we do it again? You marry me with a real diamond ring.
I've been so stupid. You still want to marry me?
I do. I love you.
Really?
I love you, Daphne.
I love you too. I want.
That is so cute. Put the ring on. You didn't do that right.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Go on your knee again.
See, this is, Your Honor, this is where
You said you don't understand women. We're teaching you right now. That's what we said. Do it over. Do it over. Lord, you two, this is why I'm here. Right.
Thank you.
There
Thank
we
you,
go.
Your Honor.
Very
Thank
nice. No, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you all worked through a very difficult moment. And you know what, Ms. Mason? Honesty is the best policy. So with that said, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
So how do you two plan on moving forward?
Well, I'll choose the wedding rings, I guess.
I guess we're back on track, and I'll be moving back into the apartment and out of my family's house, so that's good.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Did you sign a contract, Ms. Salas?
I did.
Did you bring it?
No, I assumed that Miss Annalise would bring it, but I would like to state that there is no information about leaving food out.
And that would help prove your case, so you shouldn't assume Ms. Raven is going to bring anything.
Annalise Raven claims her vacation rental's outdoor space was destroyed by a bear after food was left out on the patio. Larissa Solis says the plaintiff's signage at the cabin was unclear.
This is the case of Raven versus Salas. Miss Raven, you are suing Miss Salas for $983 in property damages. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And the defendant, Miss Salas, says you claim that her property had improper signage, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's start with you, Miss Raven. Why are we here?
We're here because of Larissa's negligence. A bear has damaged my patio and pool.
Okay, so what does that have to do with her?
So, Larissa decided to rent out my cabin for a few nights.
Do you rent out this cabin normally?
Yes, I have been renting out my cabin for about 3 years now.
Okay, do you know Miss Salas?
I do not know her personally.
All right.
And she stayed for 3 nights, and on the 3rd night, they left food out, and that is when a bear had came and destroyed the property.
How do you know they left it out on the 3rd night if you weren't there?
So I have cameras outside, which she knows about for security purposes. That's when I had gotten a call from my neighbor saying they heard loud noises, and that's when I had then received a call from Larissa saying that there was a bear in the pool.
Do you have the contract that she signed when she rented the place?
I have the agreement, and I have pictures from afterwards.
Thank you. So, Miss Salas, you wanted to go stay at a cabin?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
You wanted to just have a little fun in the wilderness?
Yes, I wanted to stay for 3 nights at Miss Raven's cabin. I was having my bachelorette party, and I just
for your bachelorette?
Yes.
She never said that.
Well, I only had 5 guests, my close friends and family, and Miss Raven met all of them.
Coming up,
One of my bridesmaids decided to go for a little dip in the pool. Once she went out there, she saw a bear was in the pool.
we're back with the case of Annalise Raven, who blames Larissa Solis for a bear damaging her property.
She says you left food out and a bear came.
Yes, Your Honor.
So tell me about your party. Did you leave food out? Is this or is this not true?
Well, so the stay was for 3 nights, and on the 3rd night, on the 3rd day, actually, we were having lunch out by the pool. It was about 1:30, and then at about 4:30, we moved inside, and at 6:30, one of my bridesmaids decided to go for a little dip in the pool, and once she went out there, she saw a bear was in the pool. And she freaked out, she started screaming, ran back inside. We closed the windows, locked the door, and then we immediately called Annalise.
I have a strict do not feed the bears policy.
That could be scary. So you have a strict policy.
Correct. And they
Do
know.
not feed the bears.
Correct.
Wow. That was a big one. It must have been hot. You say don't feed the bears. Is that in your contract?
So I have a sign in my kitchen, and I reiterated that to them.
It's a sign in the kitchen.
A sign in the kitchen.
But it's not on the contract.
I believe that
I don't see a contract for the stay. Do you have a contract for the stay, or you just have?
I believe that there are the invoices of the damage and the pictures of the property damage.
And no contract. Did you sign a contract, Ms. Salas?
I did.
Did you bring it?
No, I assumed that Miss Annalise would bring it, but I would like to state that there is no information about leaving food out.
And that would help prove your case, so you shouldn't assume Ms. Raven is going to bring anything.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
So we're here suing on property damages for a clause that really should be in a contract, that's not in a contract, but is posted in the kitchen. You know it's out in the woods, in the wilderness. You know that there are bears. So much so that you tell people don't feed the bears. But let's be clear. Some people may interpret that to mean let's not, purposefully and intentionally set food out to feed the bears, right? Because people need to understand if it's that much of an imminent danger, right? It needs to be in your contract. It needs to be posted everywhere. It needs to be posted on trees. It needs to be posted by the pool. But you don't have any signage or anything in the contract that tells people, all right, well, if you're not going to intentionally go feed the bears, let me give you another few enumerated situations that you need to avoid living here. You have not proven sufficiently that Ms. Salas should be liable for the damages to your property that the bear caused. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
You got lucky.
You can kiss your rating goodbye.
Okay, well, I hope your marriage is just fantastic.
It is, thank you.
Okay.
Soraya Matheson claims her son's daycare center was biased against him, punishing him more than the other children. Justine Banks says the plaintiff's son had behavioral issues, so he needed the extra discipline.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Matheson versus Banks. Ms. Matheson, you are suing Ms. Banks for $5,000 for the return of tuition. You say she was biased against your son. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And the defendant, Ms. Banks, you claim that plaintiff was difficult and always questioned you and your decisions. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'll start with you. Ms. Matheson, can you explain to the court what happened?
Absolutely. So I moved to Los Angeles from Dallas recently, and most of my family is in Dallas, and I don't have a lot of support or childcare here in Los Angeles. But I'm very particular about the way I raise my son. I'm very intentional about what I do. So it was a very big decision for me what childcare was provided and the daycare or preschool that I put him in. because I didn't know a lot of people, I asked my coworkers. I actually moved here for the job, which is why I moved to Los Angeles. And I asked my coworkers if they had any recommendations for a daycare or childcare for me to place my son in. They all highly recommended Mrs. Banks' daycare. I went to go visit the school. I talked to her quite a bit about her philosophy, and it seemed like it very closely matched mine. She talked about individualized attention to the children, one-on-one care, right? Really meeting them where they are in their education. And I thought that really matches how I take care of my child.
How old is your child?
My child is 5 years old.
Okay.
And I even did a surprise visit to the school, and she seemed very warm. There was a child sitting in her lap, and she was reading stories to the child. So I was very excited to have my child go to this school.
Boy or girl?
A boy. And then the only thing, though, that I really noticed that I was concerned about was that the school was not very diverse. There weren't a lot of children of color, and every other school that my child has gone to has been diverse. And as a young black boy, I really wanted to make sure that he was in a diverse environment, but also an environment that was affirming to him as a child.
Did you bring that up with Ms. Banks?
Yeah, so one of the things I did bring up was that, but she really talked about, again, she didn't really see color, and she really looked at individualized attention for the children. I wasn't really satisfied with the answer, but because I didn't have a lot of options and I was moving pretty quickly, I decided that I was going to deprioritize that, especially because she had a lot of the other things I was looking for, and I did need him to be in a good and safe environment.
So
I thought
overall,
that would be, yeah.
As you looked at this particular center, you said, this is a good place where it aligns with my values. The only thing I don't like about it is there aren't a lot of other children of color.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
So, Ms. Banks, I'd like to go to you, and I'd like to hear from you.
For 15 years, I've ran my center, and I keep it a very low ratio so that the kids that come in are 10 to 15 kids max, and I have 4 full-time staff members, 1 part-time staff member. Now, I do that so we can individualize, so that we can give them the best support possible. It's 2 to 5 year old children that we have, so we really gear what we provide based on their developmental level. So we are preparing our 5-year-olds more for preschool and for actual kindergarten. It's more like a preschool. What I said to her is that we don't look at color. It's just a matter of basically if we're referred parents, we're referred children, they come in, they see our center, they want to sign up, they sign a contract. So I really, I don't base who I bring into my center based on color.
All right. So can you then explain, Ms. Matheson, what is it that created this issue as to why you're here at We the People?
Absolutely. And, in retrospect, I really should have seen that as a red flag. In Dallas, we were a very diverse environment, and my son was always in diverse classes and has never had any behavioral issues. But as soon as he started at Ms. Banks' school, he started getting timeouts. He would come home and say, I got a timeout today, I got a timeout today. And then he told me that Ms. Banks yelled at him. Now, again, that does not seem appropriate for the daycare owner to be yelling at the kids. And so I asked him what was going on, and he said he didn't really know.
Coming up.
I noticed that Terrence was in timeout, and I asked Ms. Banks about the situation. No, my daughter was not put in timeout. The child who was biting was not put in timeout. I didn't understand what happened, and I thought that all the children should have been disciplined.
And later.
When I went to go change information with that other driver, he was screaming at me, telling me my backlights were not on, but he had a dash cam and he showed me the footage, and sure enough, my backlights were not on.
Soraya Matheson and daycare owner Justine Banks over a tuition refund.
I was very concerned, and I talked to him and I talked to her, and what he told me was that she wanted him to do things but was not explaining why. And so one of the things was she wanted him to go read, for example, and he would say, well, I read all of the books, I don't want to read them anymore, I want to do something else, and she would not explain or accommodate that in any way, which to me does not align with her ethos of meeting the child where they are, giving individualized attention, and helping them develop in the way they need to.
Actually, that's not exactly what happened.
Well, so, okay, but you can tell your side of the story, but essentially, when I went and I spoke to her, what she told me was that my son had behavioral issues, he doesn't listen, and he asked why all the time. I said to her, that is normal behavior for a 5-year-old. And again, if what you prize, certainly not diversity, but if what you prize is individualized attention, you should be able to have enough time to focus on the child and explain to him so that he can understand what he needs to do and why.
All right. Do you feel like Ms. Matheson's son had behavioral problems? Did you report to her that he wasn't behaving appropriately at school?
Actually, I did. And what I saw right from the beginning was he had a difficult time with transitions. He would be doing a puzzle and he didn't want to stop doing the puzzle. And I'd say we were going to transition to another activity and he'd say, why? And you know, in the beginning, I would begin to explain it to him. But when it happened repeatedly, I saw this as a behavioral problem. And I, you know, from what I've seen in my 15 years of working and having my center, is that, you know, this could stem from a problem with authority or may further down the line become a problem with listening to authoritative figures and people that are, you know, in charge. I mean, in kindergarten, you have to follow a routine. You have to follow a schedule. And I explained that to Ms. Matheson, that we have consistency. We believe in stability and a schedule. And that is a good for a child's development at that age and is what they need.
And so did you yell at her son when he did not do what you asked him to do?
I didn't exactly yell. I raise my voice at the kids now and then at times. I mean,
I can understand that for preschool. You definitely may have to be stern in terms of what you're asking them to do if they're not listening or they're very loud and you have to kind of settle them down. But were you yelling at him individually?
Well, I raised my voice at him after so many times of asking him to transition or, you know, him asking
Can I ask you something? As soon as you told me he was having trouble transitioning, I thought about a child who had just come to a new area, to a new school. There weren't a lot of people who looked like him, and maybe he was finding his safe place in this thing that engaged him, and maybe he didn't want to transition because he wasn't interested.
Well, the thing is if you let all children just do what they feel like doing at the moment, it's more like babysitting, basically. We're not able to teach them skills or structure or routine. So if I were to let him just sit and play with his puzzles and do what he wanted to do and not come to circle time, then there might be other children that would decide, well, I just want to do this instead. I mean, we do have a structure and a routine, and you know,
How quickly into his time there? How soon after you joined was he getting the timeouts and not transitioning?
Almost immediately. So I didn't hear about not transitioning. What I heard was that he was not interested in the activities that they had. So for example, when I asked him about the books, he said he had read them all. And that's absolutely true because when I investigated, he had a lot of books that we had already read at home and he wanted to read other books. I even went so far as to purchase other books to bring to the center for him to read, but the timeouts did not stop. And can I please call out, though, he has been in other daycare centers, and he has never gotten any feedback that he does not listen to authority or that he does not transition.
I'm interested to know, were there other children getting timeouts as frequently as her son?
No, not as frequently. And they've been there longer than a month. It's not that he is just brand new.
All right. I'd like to hear from your witness, Ms. Matheson. Ma'am, please stand. You've already been sworn in. State your name for the court.
Your Honor, my name is Christine Raven.
Thank you for being here, Ms. Raven. What would you like to add?
My daughter, Alicia, has always loved Terrence, and I'm here because...
Terrence is Ms. Matheson's son?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm here because of a particular incident. There's a child that was biting the kids at the daycare, and my daughter, Alicia, and Terrence hit this child. I'm sure it was chaotic, but when I picked Alicia up from school that day, I asked her about what happened. She was upset, and I noticed that Terrence was in timeout, and Alicia told me that Terrence was in timeout, and I asked Ms. Banks about the situation. No, my daughter was not put in timeout. The child who was biting was not put in timeout, and I was very alarmed by this, and so I told Ms. Matheson that I didn't understand what happened, and I thought that all the children should have been disciplined.
How will Judge Lake rule? Tune in tomorrow for the exciting conclusion.
I immediately said, I am taking my child out. This is not a safe environment for him, and you need to give me my money back because I paid in advance.
I'd like to meet your son. Well, hello, Terrence. Welcome. How are you today?
Good.
Coming up.
We inspected every inch of that car down to its fluid.
And everything worked?
Everything worked.
At that time?
At that time, it worked. That same night, we got rear-ended. And I went to go change informations with that other driver. He was screaming at me, telling me my back lights were not on.
Errol Chambers claims he was sold a car with faulty brake lights, which caused him to be rear-ended the same day. Sergio Price says the plaintiff had plenty of time to examine the car and didn't have any concerns.
This is the case of Chambers versus Price. Mr. Chambers, you are suing Mr. Price for $2,322 because you say the defendant sold you a car with faulty brake lights. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Price, you say the plaintiff had plenty of time to look the vehicle over.
He did.
All right. How did you find out that Mr. Price had a car for sale?
I found him on Craigslist.
All right, and what kind of car was it?
It's a 2006 Dodge Magnum,
What was the price?
$7,000.
So, Mr. Price, you had this Dodge Magnum for sale. Were you at a dealer? Are you a used car dealer, or where were you selling it? On your home?
I'm not a dealer, ma'am. I was selling it at my house.
So you were selling it at your house?
Yep.
All right. And so Mr. Chambers comes. What happens?
Well, he's looking for a car and said his car that he had died. And he said he really liked the Magnum because it's like a hopped up station wagon. And he came, spent a couple hours at the house. My wife even came out with snacks and we hung out for a couple hours, and we took the Magnum for a test drive, and he took his time looking it over and inspecting it top to bottom, and seemed to be pretty satisfied.
Did you look over the car, Mr. Chambers?
Yes, I did.
Top to bottom?
Top to bottom, down to the fuel.
You didn't see anything wrong with it?
No.
Coming up.
I was super sure the car was working. I just came out of, it was the same night. I just checked it. Nothing was wrong with it. But he had a dash cam and he showed me the footage, and sure enough, my backlights were not on.
Did you bring that dash cam?
No, that was his.
We're back with the case of Errol Chambers, who is arguing with Sergio Price over faulty brake lights.
So what happened? You are petitioning the court because you say the car was faulty.
So when we left, my girlfriend and I, she was driving behind me. I went to my mother's house to show her the new purchase I had and have dinner. That same night, we got rear-ended. When I went to go change informations with that other driver, he was screaming at me, telling me my backlights were not on, just really rude with me, and I was super sure the car was working. I just came out of, it was the same night. We just checked it. Nothing was wrong with it, but he had a dash cam and he showed me the footage, and sure enough, my backlights were not on.
Did you bring that dash cam?
No, that was his. I couldn't bring it.
All right, so Mr. Price, did you have any knowledge that the backlights weren't working?
Well, vague memory serves that it maybe had a flicker a long time ago, but I drove that car for years and it never gave me a problem.
Did anyone bring the ad of the car?
I did.
I'd like to see that.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take all your evidence here. Thank you.
All right, so here's the listing. He's selling it, 75,000 miles, serious offers only. You don't say that the car is as is.
Well, it's a cash sale, Your Honor. I'm not a dealer, so there's no warranty, so.
So you asked, was there a warranty?
No.
What I don't understand is if you spent 2 hours over there, why not just call a mechanic or someone that knows how cars work to get an inspection? You could have done that, because this is a really great life lesson and legal lesson, right? Before you purchase something, before you sign a title over, before anything happens and you have the opportunity to inspect the vehicle, you have to do your due diligence.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Meanwhile, now you're mad because you say you bought a car with faulty brake lights.
Okay.
Why didn't you get the car inspected? Why didn't you want that extra protection?
Well, me and him inspected together.
You walked through the car together.
We walked through the car together. We inspected every inch of that car down to its fluids.
And everything worked?
Everything worked.
At that time?
At that time, it worked. The lemon law. I should be protected from it.
Right. And I know you felt that way. And that's probably why you didn't do your due diligence and get that added inspection. And unfortunately, Mr. Chambers, I have to tell you that the lemon law just applies to dealers, businesses. It does not, in the state of California, apply to private sellers, because private sellers can sell a car as is, and they don't even have to put the words "as is" on the advertisement. Do you understand?
Yes,
For that
ma'am.
reason, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Sorry, kid. Gotta be in it to win it.
No, you're wrong, man. You know I ain't right. I'll see you on Craigslist again.
You ain't getting nothing.
Bet.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep it up.
I will.
Yeah. Grow up, kid.
I will.
Follow me, please.
Andrea Schwartz claims her former fiancé or his son need to pay for the cost of her child's birth. Wayne and Julian Pierce say that if she had a relationship with both of them, it's likely someone else is the baby's father.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Schwartz versus Pierce and Pierce. Ms. Schwartz, you are suing Mr. Pierce and his son for $4,250, which is half of your birth expenses. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And the defendants, you both say you are not the father.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Correct, Your Honor.
Well, we have a father and son as co-defendants.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So you should get to testify, Ms. Schwartz. How can father and son both be potential fathers?
Wayne and I, we were engaged, we were fiancé, and we were planned to be married when his son moved in with us to study for his MCATs. Because Mr. Pierce is an orthopedic surgeon, and his son wanted to follow in his father's footsteps.
Boy, did he!
The reason our relationship went south is because he knew that I really wanted a child, and he never had the time for our relationship, let alone the relationship with his son.
Your Honor, if I may, I am an orthopedic surgeon, as she said, and that requires many, many hours, and she knew that when we met, and that was one of the reasons our engagement went so long, was figuring out if that time was enough. Julian is my son from my previous marriage, and I had reservations about having another child, which Andrea knew quite well.
All right, so you were not convinced that you wanted to have another child.
That's correct.
And you all were using this engagement for really what engagements are for, is to continue to get to know one another and figure out if marriage is really the right next step.
He was delaying and never made time for us or for Julian. And he knew it's very important for me, being in my 30s as a woman. I'm excited to have a child and be a mother.
So you started making time for Julian?
Your Honor.
We spent more time together. I helped him to study since his father was not even there to help him study as he should have been.
Ms. Schwartz, how old are you?
I am 34.
And Julian, how old are you?
I'm 22, Your Honor.
All right. So you obviously started to have a romantic interest in Ms. Schwartz, or was this something that just happened? How is it that you became intimate with your fiance's son?
Julian came on to me, Your Honor.
Your Honor, that's not true. In fact, me and Andrea had spent lots and lots of time together while my father was working. She was helping me study for the MCATs. She was, since she'd quit her job, she was spending a lot of time around the house. This time would get more and more intimate. And, really we just developed a bond. And I suppose that it's possible that we were both holding on to resentment for my father. When I was in my adolescence, he wasn't really around much, and I didn't really think he treated my mom very well. Again, it's the same things that Andrea was upset with, that he was spending too much time at work and not enough time with her. And I think Andrea, really used that, and I think she used me as an opportunity to distract herself from that. And I will definitely deny that I came on to her. If anything, it's the opposite. She would go around the house in her underwear. And in fact, the first time we were physically
This is not
intimate,
true,
I
Your
said
Honor.
she initiated it.
Julian came on to me, but as he was saying, we both filled a void that Wayne himself put between us as his family.
Your Honor, the night we became physically intimate.
I'm still stuck on walking around the house in your underwear in front of your future stepson. Is that true, Ms. Schwartz?
It was a bikini.
Okay. I mean, I get it. If it was by the pool or you're at the beach, he would see you in a bikini anyway. But so you're just walking around the house in your bikini. Are you going out to the pool?
Yes, indeed. Yes, we live together after all. Sometimes things do get intimate.
You never heard of cover-ups, huh?
Coming up.
It was a very difficult conversation, and yes, I was furious with him.
I mean, y'all so calm. They so calm with it, right, Sean? What is going on here? Your son was sleeping with your fiance, and your fiance was sleeping with your son.
We're back with the case of Andrea Schwartz, who brought potential fathers Wayne and Julian Pierce to court over the cost of her child's birth.
Listen, I understand that his job, Mr. Pierce's job, was demanding. So much so that it probably did leave you with a lot of downtime. But that downtime, I don't think was... I don't think you had so much downtime that you need to get down with his son. I mean, can you find something else to do? A club to join, a gym, yoga. I mean, there are other opportunities and activities.
I made a mistake.
To occupy yourself when you have a fiance that's very busy.
It was a temporary lack of judgment and a lapse of judgment.
So this was a one-time thing?
No, Your Honor, it continued for a few months. We were both aware that, it shouldn't be happening. We were both guilty about it, but, for me at least, it was more like an addiction. And eventually, any resentment from my father stopped even being a part of this because, we'd essentially engaged in a relationship, me and her.
Was it a relationship for you, Ms. Schwartz?
I had begun losing feelings for Wayne after a while. He was supposed to be my fiance, but I was spending more time with his son. Regardless, Your Honor, one of these men is the father to my child. And I'm only asking for half of the birthing expenses. I think that's fair.
No, don't try to skip over to the damages. Now, you all done started this mess. I want to understand how it all came to a head. At what point did you find out, Mr. Pierce, that your son and your fiance were sleeping together?
So my son came to me in tears to confess to me what had happened. It was a very difficult conversation, and yes, I was furious with him.
I mean, y'all so calm. They so calm with it, right, Sean? My son told me that he... What is going on here? Your son was sleeping with your fiance, and your fiance was sleeping with your son.
That is correct. And when I found that out, I confronted Andrea. She confessed that it was true, and I threw her out because I was done at that point.
I bet you were. I bet you were. So, Ms. Schwartz, did you know that Julian was feeling that much guilt that he was going to go to his father? Or, Julian, were you feeling guilt? Or were you really trying to destroy the relationship between Ms. Schwartz and your father because you wanted her to be with you?
I wasn't trying to destroy anything, Your Honor. I mean, I did feel guilt the entire time, as I'm sure Andrea did as well. But when Andrea told me that she didn't want to continue the relationship with me because she wanted to start a family with my father, it seemed ridiculous to me. And I did get upset, and I did get angry because it made no sense. My father made it clear that he didn't want to start a family with her, that he didn't want to have another child, and it was preposterous for her to think that there was any sort of future there. So for her to end that relationship with me, I was a bit curt, and I was a bit upset. And at that point, the only thing left to do was to tell my father, quite honestly, because neither relationship was going to continue after that.
So, Ms. Schwartz, during the window of conception, when your child was conceived, you are saying, it is your testimony that you were having unprotected sex with both Mr. Pierce, the father, and Mr. Pierce, the son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's exactly how you have a question of paternity. Were you having sex with anybody else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I guess there's only one way to find out who is the father of your beautiful child. Was it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy, and this is baby Cameron. I keep this picture in my wallet if I may present some evidence along with the medical expenses.
So by the time you had the baby?
When we first separated, when we cut off our engagement, I was 6 weeks pregnant at that moment, but I did not know. And then,
so when you broke up, you didn't know you were pregnant?
I did not know yet. And when I wanted to contact them, the Pierces, to tell them I had been cut off from all communication.
Your Honor, I would just like to say I think it's a little bit irresponsible if she's having unprotected sex for both of us not to be taking pregnancy tests for 6 weeks after. I mean, it's...
You got all the answers, young Julian. I mean, I just wish you had all of this mature perspective when you decided to have sex with your father's fiance.
I
love that when people come to We the People, they are full
of
on,
knowledge.
you know, advocates, lawyers. They've got all of the right answers and the right reasoning. But we don't have that in our own lives.
I know, Your Honor, I made a monumental mistake.
Are we really in position to talk about what was irresponsible right now?
I've done a lot of personal work to grow from this, and I certainly will not be hurting my father like this again, and I certainly won't be doing anything like this in the future.
Have you two been able to salvage your relationship and regain trust and respect for one another?
We have, Your Honor. It took a lot of work and it took time, but after talking through it and how hard it was, we were able to mend our relationship and are actually closer than we have ever been.
All right.
Coming up.
Look, I don't want to say anything about Andrea and what she does, but, you know, if she had one affair, it's possible she could have had multiple.
Whew. This is messy.
We're back with the case of Andrea Schwartz, who brought potential fathers Wayne and Julian Pierce to court over the cost of her child's birth.
So, Ms. Schwartz, you had to have the baby by yourself.
Yes, Your
Who
Honor.
came to the hospital when the baby was born?
No one did, Your Honor, because they cut me off of communication completely. As much as I tried to call them and be in contact again, I could not.
So how did you notify them you were pregnant?
With this, as we are here.
What?
We were notified via the lawsuit. I didn't want to ever speak to her again after what had happened, so I did go out of my way to make sure that all communication was blocked.
So after you found that out, did you ask to see the baby?
I did not, Your Honor. It brought up some very difficult feelings for me at that time. And I do work a lot, and I do spend a lot of time and energy there, and sometimes I may disconnect when things are difficult and bury myself in my work. So I did not ask to see, no.
Have you seen the baby, Julian?
No, I have not, Your Honor. Me and my father truly didn't want anything to do with Andrea after all of this mess, and to be honest,
What about the baby? Even if you didn't want anything to do with Ms. Schwartz, you were sleeping with her unprotected. If you thought, well, one of us could be this child's father, why wouldn't you not try to see the baby?
I don't believe it's my baby, Your Honor. I don't believe it's my child.
You don't?
No.
Do you believe it's your father's child?
No, I don't believe it's either of our child.
Why don't you believe that?
Look, I don't want to say anything about Andrea and what she does, but, you know, if she had one affair, it's possible she could have had multiple. It's possible she could have been with someone after the breakups with both me and my father. I'm just saying it's not unlikely that someone else could have done this.
Whew, this is messy.
Coming up.
Well, there's only one way to find out whether father or son fathered Ms. Schwartz's child. I have the paternity results.
We're back with the case of Andrea Schwartz, who brought potential fathers Wayne and Julian Pierce to court over the cost of her child's birth.
Well, there's only one way to find out whether father or son fathered Ms. Schwartz's child. I have the paternity results. When it comes to 6-month-old baby Cameron, it has been determined by this court that Mr. Wayne Pierce, father, you are not the father. Baby Cameron is not your child. The next result reads as follows. As it pertains to 6-month-old baby Cameron, son Julian Pierce, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Pierce, you are the father. Julian, you're gonna need to use all that wisdom and maturity and logic you've just tried to display in court today and help raise this baby.
This is all very new information, obviously, and it's going to take some time to process this. I suppose I'll do whatever.
Well, while you processing, you also need to be paying, because the baby is here.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Why are you in tears, Ms. Schwartz?
I have made my mistake with Wayne, and I was hoping to potentially mend our relationship by having this child between us. And I thank you.
Oh, you were hoping that the child would be Dad's child so that you all could get back together because you really have regret for sleeping with his son.
I do. I made a mistake.
I don't know if you ever get over that, though. Do you, Sean?
No, I don't think so.
Ain't no birthday, no holiday ever gonna be the same. So with that said, Mr. Pierce, you are going to be responsible for expenses that Ms. Schwartz has incurred since this child was born, and now courts have been ruling that you're even responsible for the expenses incurred before this child was born. So it is the judgment of this court, judgment for the plaintiff for $4,250. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $4,250.
We have this beautiful blessing, this baby, and I am just happy that I was able to fulfill my dream of being a mother. So
You finally got what you want, but I will make sure that my son and my grandson